Welcome to the cultivation universe where everything abnormal is normal. And today's main character, Bai Xiaochun, is living proof. A young man who fears death more than the sky falling. A genius whose main talent is causing trouble. And also the only person who can make the entire sect want to beat him, protect him, and avoid him as much as possible. A will eternal, a cultivation story full of laughter. But beneath it is the emotional journey of a seemingly useless person who carries within him a will that can shake heaven and earth. If you want a story that's addictive from the first listen, humorous, touching, and extremely captivating, then this is the perfect choice. Now let's embark on a journey where just one thought is enough to shake eternity. Everything was developing in a positive direction, so Bai Xiaochun's mood gradually improved. From then on, he began to go out more often, not only in the Rainbow Void but occasionally to the other 3 voids. He comfortably enjoyed the admiring gazes of everyone, feeling that he had reached the peak of his life. In the blink of an eye, the Starry Sky Dao ranking vanished into thin air. It's really a headache. Night Burial, why do you think I'm so outstanding? Bai Xiaochun sighed. Every time before going out, he would roll up his sleeves and take out a bronze mirror to look at himself. If he was in a good mood, he would even ask Night Burial why he was so outstanding. Each time, Night Burial would get goosebumps. However, he always tried to put on a cheerful face, racking his brains to think of ways to flatter Bai Xiaochun, making him extremely happy. But Little Turtle seemed preoccupied with something else, not showing any signs of mockery. This only fueled Bai Xiaochun's enthusiasm. Unfortunately, the fun was short-lived. Half a month later, a decree from the Rainbow Demigod suddenly flew out, spreading throughout the Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect. Before that decree was issued, Bai Xiaochun was still outside his cave dwelling enjoying the sea breeze. In high spirits, he potted his storage bag and took out a bronze mirror. Little Nightfall, tell me, why is your grandpa Bai so welcomed wherever he goes? Bai Xiaochun cleared his throat, preparing to hear some flattering words. The Nightfall impersonator in the bronze mirror was so sad he wanted to cry. For the past half-month, he had racked his brains to come up with all sorts of praise. He felt he had no more attachment to life. This kind of thing was nothing short of torture. Master, please forgive me, the Night Burial imposter groaned mournfully. His cry dampened Bai Xiaochun's spirits, and he glared at him. Just as he was about to say something, a thunderclap suddenly boomed in the sky, shaking the heavens and earth, causing the wind and clouds to reverse. The 4 rainbow realms trembled. Even the heavenly human rainbow and the vine star rainbow shook violently. In an instant, from heavenly human to check condensation, all the cultivators present were greatly shocked, their expressions changing drastically. Bai Xiaochun was also terrified, almost dropping his bronze mirror, and looked up at the sky, his expression one of disbelief and uncertainty. What happened just as he was still astonished? An ancient, majestic voice emanated from the half-god rainbow, echoing throughout the Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect. The Heavenly Emperor has issued a decree. The heavenly soul is shaken. The reason is that the soul hunting trial is about to begin. 1 month from now, the Starry Sky ship will depart for the savage wilderness. The voice was extremely mournful, each word seemingly transforming into a rule, causing the heavens and earth to rumble and hearts to tremble. Bai Xiaochun took a deep breath. He didn't quite understand the meaning of these words. After all, Bai Xiaochun had only just entered the top 10 and didn't yet understand much about the Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect. But for the other top 100, after hearing this, their hearts leapt and their breathing became rapid and intense. The soul hunting trial has finally begun. After the trial ends, I will definitely enter the nascent soul stage. Haha, I've been waiting for this day for too long in the Rainbow Star domain. On a mountain peak engulfed in flames, Chen Yue-san, ranked 3rd, suddenly stood up, her eyes shining brightly. Soul hunting, on the Rainbow Realm, the 2nd-ranked prodigy, Zhu Dao, was slaying some vengeful spirits. Hearing the voice of the decree, his whole body trembled, his eyes revealing extreme excitement. It's starting. Zhao Tianzhou, let's see who can achieve the heavenly human soul nascent soul between you and me. I must seize the heavenly human soul. While the entire Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect was shaken, in an endless mountain range outside the sect, a tall, thin young man with a cold expression stood. He carried a large sword on his back, walking through the mountains and forests, the air thick with blood, as if he had killed countless people along the way. Especially noteworthy was the ferocious skull he held in his hand. This skull belonged to an old man, still retaining the aura of a nascent soul cultivator. The young man suddenly stopped, took out a jade slip from his storage bag, and began to examine it. After seeing the contents of the jade slip, his eyes suddenly gleamed with a sharp light, a light that seemed capable of corroding everything, causing the surrounding vegetation to wither in an instant. The final soul hunting trial has finally begun. The young man took a deep breath, the light in his eyes intensifying, causing the flowers and plants within a 1,000-foot radius around him to wither. He was none other than the #1 ranked on the Starry Sky Dao Extreme ranking, Zhao Qianzhao. After the Rainbow Demigod spread the news of the soul hunting trial, the sect master of the Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect immediately issued several decrees, and the 4 Rainbow Domain sect masters did the same. A large amount of information also spread from those in the know. In just one short day, this news had spread throughout the sect. Bai Xiaochun also heard some, but it wasn't complete. However, hearing only this much information made Bai Xiaochun begin to feel nervous. Therefore, Su Baozi was immediately summoned. "Young master, good news, great news!" Su Baozi immediately shouted as soon as he entered the cave. "Tell me quickly, what exactly is this soul hunting trial?" Bai Zikun asked anxiously. "Young master, I've found out clearly. This soul hunting trial is a great opportunity for cultivators to break through from the golden core stage to the nascent soul stage," Su Baozi said excitedly. "Ah, a great opportunity." Bai Zikun was stunned. He had heard that this soul hunting trial was extremely dangerous, not to the point of being a matter of life and death, but not far from it. "That's right. I just found out that there are 3 methods to break through from the golden core stage to the nascent soul stage. The first is using a nascent soul pill, which is only a common grade pill. The second is using a 5 elements heavenly beast soul, which is an earth grade pill. Legend says the highest is the 5 elements heavenly human soul, which is almost impossible to achieve. This is a heaven grade pill," Su Baozi said excitedly. "If it were within a sect, let alone a heaven-grade nascent soul, even an earth-grade nascent soul would be extremely rare. After all, heavenly human souls are scarce, and heavenly beast souls are also very rare, making it unlikely to encounter them. But in the savage wilderness, it's different. It's rumored that there's a river in the savage wilderness similar to the Tongshan River. However, the living cannot see it. It's called the Nether River. The Nether River can suck in all the souls of the dead, transferring them to the savage wilderness. Therefore, there are countless soul images in the savage wilderness. In that endless sea of souls, not only are there undiscovered heavenly beast souls, but even heavenly human souls. Therefore, it's the best land of creation for core formation cultivators." Su Baozi was extremely excited. Judging by his demeanor, if he had the qualifications to go to the savage wilderness, he would definitely strive selflessly. The savage wilderness. Bai Xiaochun took a deep breath. He understood the savage wilderness a little better than Su Baozi. At this moment, he realized that this trial was definitely not as simple as it seemed. You must know that in the savage wilderness, besides soul images, there are also cultivators. This soul hunting trial will be held in the savage wilderness. It requires a giant ship to travel on the Tongshan Sea, following a different route to enter the savage wilderness, Su Baozi said, looking at the mysterious ancient ship. Bai Xiaochun's eyes followed him, his heart trembling. He remembered Chen Manya saying that the giant ship could take her home. Now, combining the facts, Bai Xiaochun understood that Chen Manya had known about this all along. The trial lasts 10 years. Only those whose names are on the Starry Sky Dao Extreme ranking are eligible to participate. Congratulations, young master. You might even be a nascent soul cultivator when you return. The ultimate goal right now is to obtain a celestial human soul. Bringing one celestial human soul back to the sect will allow us to exchange it for a complete 5 elements celestial beast soul. If we can't obtain a celestial human soul, then obtaining a portion of a celestial beast soul will also suffice. Even a portion of a celestial beast soul can be exchanged for a precious nascent soul pill. I also heard that the top 100 of the Starry Sky Dao ranking could have entered the nascent soul stage many years ago. But they all suppressed their cultivation levels, their main purpose being the soul hunting trial. Su Baokai's face lit up with excitement as he recounted everything he had learned. The more Bai Xiaochun listened, the more his expression darkened. Finally, he took a deep breath, a strong conflict rising within him regarding this trial. I can't go, I'm not going. Bai Xiaochun immediately made up his mind. Oh right, there's another major event, something the young master can't possibly imagine. My God, I didn't hear a word about it before, and only heard the news after the trial began. Su Baoxai seemed to remember something, and immediately spoke, his expression extremely agitated. Young master, do you know, the Starry Sky Dao Extreme Sect isn't just the scale we usually see. This place is actually only a part of it. Another part isn't here, it's inside the Great Wall. Su Baoxai gasped again, as if still shaken by this news. The Great Wall? Bai Xiaochun was stunned. That's right, it's the Great Wall. Su Baoxai was so excited that he gesticulated wildly. There, the Starry Sky Dao Extreme Sect built 3 fortresses. The first one is very close to the Tangshan Sea, so it has a dense spiritual energy. The second one is deep within the continent, where the spiritual energy is weak, and the third one is in a very deep place, where there is almost no spiritual energy. The third fortress is not just a simple fortress. A gigantic Great Wall has been built there. That's the garrison of the Starry Sky Dao Extreme Sect's most elite army, said to be called the Iron Blood Hall. I also heard that not only the Starry Sky Dao Extreme Sect has such a fortress, but the other 3 major sects in the upper reaches also have similar structures. Furthermore, these 4 great walls are linked together, forming a large circle, encircling all the sects within the Tangshan Sea. But the real desolate wilderness is beyond the Great Wall. I heard that in this soul hunting trial, all participants have to go outside the Great Wall several times. Su Baoxai said this, seemingly realizing there was something inconsistency. Summarizing the information he had gathered, he felt that the areas inside and outside the Great Wall were in opposition. Therefore, his voice gradually lowered, and his expression began to change. You've noticed that too, Bai Zikun said dejectedly, glancing at Su Baoxai. That's impossible, isn't it? Is the area outside the Great Wall very dangerous? Does it need a Great Wall built to resist or prevent the souls from entering? Su Baoxai took a deep breath, the terrifying implications making him tremble. Bai Zikun's face was gloomy, the sense of danger growing stronger. But before he could think of a way to escape, the sect master's decree passed through the 4 sect leaders, spread throughout the sect. In this soul-hunting trial, all 1,000 top-ranked individuals on the Starry Sky Dao ranking must participate. Furthermore, within 10 years, they must go out on missions at least 3 times before they can return to the sect. As soon as the order was given, Bai Xiaochun knew he couldn't escape this time. It's over, Bai Xiaochun sighed. After all, this wasn't the Reverse River sect, especially since he had just entered the Purple Rainbow sect and his reputation was soaring, so there was no way to avoid it. This mission is too dangerous. At the Great Wall, besides guarding against soul shadows, I also have to guard against a number of rebels, Bai Xiaochun grumbled. After thinking for a while, he went to Chen Manyao's residence. Chen Manya wasn't surprised by Bai Xiaochun's arrival. She smiled, invited him into her cave dwelling, sat opposite him, and gazed at him meaningfully. That, Mandao, after we arrive at the Starry Sky Dao Extreme Sect, tell me, how do you think I should treat you? You haven't fulfilled the promise you made to me before, Bai Xiaochun said in a low voice. Chen Mandao covered her mouth and chuckled. She was already beautiful, and her laughter made her even more captivating. Young ancestor, there's no need to worry. Even if we go to the savage wilderness, as long as we're careful when we leave the Great Wall, there won't be any problems. Besides, this is a chance for good fortune. You might even be able to obtain a heavenly human soul. If you're worried, joining us would be fine, Chen Mandao said with a smile. Heavenly human souls aren't that numerous. Even if there were, after so many years, they would have been taken by others long ago. Bai Xiaochun sighed, avoiding Chen Mandao's topic. His purpose in coming here was to gather information. Young master, there's something you don't know. The savage wilderness is unique. The Nether River exists there, so there are countless soul images. These souls have accumulated since the existence of the Tangshan world. Over countless years, the combined number of heavenly human souls may be small, but there are definitely still some. accumulated for a long time. Bai Xiaochun was stunned. I don't know the specifics, nor the reason why. But one thing is certain, the souls in the savage wilderness have accumulated for a long time. Chen Manyo said solemnly. There's no spiritual energy in the savage wilderness. How do the people there cultivate? Bai Xiaochun suddenly asked. Although there's no spiritual energy, there are many souls. People there absorb soul power to cultivate, Chen Manyo said softly. Bai Xiaochun fell silent. After a while, Chen Manyo brought up the idea of inviting Bai Xiaochun to join her forces. This time, Bai Xiaochun didn't refuse immediately, but pondered for a moment before standing up and leaving. Along the way, Bai Xiaochun couldn't help but sigh. His intuition told him that this soul hunting trial was extremely dangerous, yet he couldn't avoid it, ultimately having to resign himself to his fate. Many cultivators along the way showed him respectful expressions, but Bai Xiaochun had no time to pay attention to them. The sky had darkened, and the golden Tongshan Sea in the distance reflected a brilliant sunset. Bai Xiaochun gazed at the scene, sighed, and thought about his portion of the heavenly human soul. If things went wrong, he could find a safe place within the Great Wall to live for 10 years. After returning, he could exchange it for a heavenly beast soul to form a nascent soul. However, he felt a little regretful. In his inner turmoil, he unconsciously walked to the entrance of his cave dwelling. But just as he was about to enter, he suddenly stopped, looked up, and his eyes gleamed. He sensed someone inside his cave dwelling. Bai Xiaochun channeled his cultivation, pointing his right hand at the large door. Boom, boom, boom. The door swung open, revealing a female figure with her back to him. Upon seeing her, Bai Xiaochun was shaken, his breathing becoming rapid. He began, but the woman turned around, revealing a face incredibly familiar to him. Xiaochun, the woman spoke softly, her eyes radiating a gentle light. Du Lingfei, Bai Xiaochun took a deep breath. He had imagined what his reaction would be upon seeing Du Lingfei, but now he realized he wasn't as shaken as he'd imagined. It was as if he had already prepared himself for this moment. Bai Xiaochun's eyes were filled with complex emotions. After a moment, he remembered the attitude of the Void Domain sect leader, the care of Feng Yud, and a series of events that had happened to him since entering the Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect. Seemingly aided by benefactors, he had made many conjectures until he met Du Lingfei here. Only then did he fully understand. Xiaochun, I'm truly sorry. Du Lingfei spoke softly, her expression a mixture of complexity and sorrow. Was it you of the Bloodstream sect? Bai Xiaochun interrupted Du Lingfei, looking at her face before speaking each word clearly. Yes, Du Lingfei answered without hesitation. Why did you act as a spy? Why did you appear at the Bloodstream sect, the Spirit Stream sect, and even here? Bai Xiaochun stared at Du Lingfei, asking again. I am not in control of my own destiny. Du Lingfei shook his head, speaking bitterly. Who are you, and where do you come from? Bai Xiaochun noticed Du Lingfei's displeasure. His heart softened, and he gently asked, I come from the Tongshan Sea, brother. Don't ask any more questions. Du Lingfei remained silent for a long time before sighing in reply. Bai Xiaochun was startled and silently asked no more questions. Outside, the sun was setting, the twilight was almost over, and the cave dwelling was completely silent. Only the faint sound of their breathing could be heard. After a long time, the cave dwelling was shrouded in darkness, and Bai Xiaochun asked one last question, a question he had kept hidden in his heart, the question that concerned him most. In the Luochen mountain range, were your tears real or fake? Bai Xiaochun softly asked. Du Lingfei didn't answer, but extended her hand. A purple flame appeared in her palm, radiating an astonishing aura. This aura was far stronger than that of the heavenly human power leaf, incomparable, as if a real heavenly human was standing right before them. One could even vaguely discern a soul within the flame. Brother, you said this heavenly human soul. Is it real or fake? Du Lingfei raised her head, looked at Bai Xiaochun, and softly asked. Bai Xiaochun was startled. He also had a heavenly human soul, a wood soul, given to him by the Han sect's ancestor. At that time, although Bai Xiaochun knew the value of a heavenly human soul, he didn't feel it intensely. But today, after spending some time at the Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect, especially as he was about to go to the soul hunting trial, he understood the true value of a heavenly human soul. To achieve the heavenly down nascent soul, one needs 5 heavenly human souls with 5 different attributes. And as for heavenly beast souls, any single heavenly human soul can be exchanged for 5 heavenly beast souls with 5 different attributes. This shows that the value of a heavenly human soul is immeasurable, no matter where you look. Without waiting for Bai Xiaochun's reply, Du Lingfei waved her hand, and the fire-attributed heavenly human soul flew straight towards Bai Xiaochun, hovering before him. Du Lingfei's figure blurred, as if about to dissipate. Her eyes remained gentle as she looked at Bai Xiaochun, a deep sincerity and a hint of guilt in them. The savage wilderness is dangerous, brother. Don't take risks. After you return, use a portion of this heavenly human soul to exchange for a heavenly beast soul. When you come back, I will tell you everything. Du Lingfei looked at Bai Xiaochun, her body slowly fading away. Even after Du Lingfei left, Bai Xiaochun remained silent. After a long while, he closed his eyes, then opened them again, silently putting away the heavenly human soul, and sat down cross-legged, lost in thought. Half a month quickly passed, and the trial was fast approaching. He couldn't help but focus on his preparations, from refining pills and cultivating spiritual energy to maintaining his peak physical condition, keeping Bai Xiaochun extremely busy. The day before the trial, Bai Xiaochun went to the demon-subduing hall to bid farewell to Zhang Dapin. Zhang Dapin hadn't fully awakened yet, but his aura had recovered steadily, and his cultivation was steadily increasing. It seemed he would successfully form a golden core in no more than 2 or 3 months. Senior brother, the next time we meet will be 10 years from now. I don't want to leave, Bai Xiaochun said, not sitting down in front of Zhang Dapin. He spoke for a long time, until dusk fell, fearing he might interfere with Zhang Dapin's golden core formation, before finally leaving the hall to thank Feng Yud. Rest assured, the best reward for your success this time is for you to become a nascent soul cultivator. I promise you, your senior brother, that I will definitely take care of you. Feng Yud looked at Bai Xiaochun and spoke slowly. Bai Xiaochun thanked him again. Since Su Beokai wasn't allowed to go this time, he went to find Su Beokai to give him some instructions before returning to his cave dwelling to wait until the next morning to depart. Nothing happened during the night. As dawn broke, the day of the trial finally arrived. From within the Starry Sky Dao Extreme Sect, the resounding drums echoed in all directions, and all the cultivators excitedly emerged from their cave dwellings. Bai Xiaochun tidied up his belongings and, with a solemn expression, walked out, standing outside his cave dwelling. A tremendous explosion resounded from the sea, like a giant roaring. The waves surged high, and from within the enormous ancient warship, an astonishing aura emanated. The shadowy figures within the warship cried out mournfully, scrambling to escape, as if the will of the warship was awakening from its deep slumber. It awakened, making its aura stronger and stronger, until finally, the entire rainbow of the Starry Sky Dao Extreme Sect trembled. Bai Xiaochun took a deep breath, his mouth agape as he gazed at the warship. It was enormous, tens of thousands of feet long, pitch black, its exterior riddled with damage, emanating an ancient aura. Yet, amidst the damage, there was a fierce, intimidating presence that made one want to avoid provoking it. At the bow, a colossal skeleton stood, more than half rotten, its form indistinguishable. Only its human-like shape and size of tens of thousands of feet were visible. The warship's exterior was covered in sharp thorns, each emitting a black glow. One could imagine the immense power unleashed, enough to shake the very foundations of the earth. The ship had 5 decks, but many areas seemed to be sealed. The ship slowly began to move, its violent aura causing the Tongshan Sea to churn with massive waves. From the celestial rainbow bridge, an old man emerged, his hair snow-white, looking very much like an immortal, with a third eye between his eyebrows. His voice echoed, I am Chen Zhuocean, the one leading you to the branch sect this time to conduct the soul-shattering trial. The sea journey is long and arduous, taking more than half a year by ship. Aren't you going to board the ship now? What are you waiting for? The last few words resounded like thunder, making everyone's ears ring. Over 1,000 cultivators rushed towards the warship. Bai Xiaochun gritted his teeth and followed. As soon as he left the Rainbow Bridge, he felt an extremely dense spiritual energy and a violent gale from the Tongshan Sea crashing into his face. This kind of gale was unbearable even for a core formation cultivator. Everyone swayed, hastily using all their strength to fly as fast as possible towards the ship. The difference in skill was evident here. A woman with incredible speed surging ahead, surrounded by a fiery aura, was Chen Yue-san. She was almost at the warship when a snort rang out from behind her. Zhuo Dao took a step forward, almost like a teleportation, surpassing Chen Yue-san and becoming the first to set foot on board. Bai Zikun was startled. He relied on afterimages to teleport over short distances, while Zhuo Dao's was practically instantaneous, even more bizarre than his own. Wind escape, someone exclaimed. Wind escape? Bai Zikun was also shocked by these two words. At this moment, several more people boarded the ship. Bai Zikun didn't use his highest speed, maintaining his position among the first 100, stepping aboard and looking around. The cultivators were scattered, their hostility and competition clearly evident. This would undoubtedly intensify upon reaching the savage wilderness. Bai Zikun found a secluded spot and sighed. What's going on? Why all this killing and fighting? Why aren't these people as simple as me? Bai Xiaoqun scanned the surroundings, quickly locating Sangqiu Swansea and Chen Manyao. But unfortunately, they were quite far away, making it inconvenient to approach them. He also found Gongsun Wan'er, but considering her strange nature, he lowered his eyes. Seeing everyone had boarded the ship, the three-eyed old man also disappeared from the rainbow heavenly human, reappearing inside the ship. Beside him, 5 nascent soul cultivators had unexpectedly appeared. The ship was about to depart when a rainbow-colored beam of light, as if tearing through the void, roared and rushed forward. Such a major event, how could I, Zhao Qianzhou, be absent? A young man, weary and travel-worn, hurried forward. His body was slender, his hair long, and his entire being exuded a cold, arrogant aura. His cultivation level was astonishingly high. Although only at the great perfection of the core formation stage, his aura was no less powerful than that of a nascent soul cultivator. As he flew, the void itself was affected, his figure sometimes blurry, sometimes clear. This was true teleportation. Even if it was only a short distance, it was truly teleportation. A core formation cultivator knowing true teleportation caused an even more intense shock than the left Taoist earlier. In an instant, the young man had ascended to the ship, standing tall and proud, making everyone else seem like stars and the moon in comparison. It's senior brother. Heavens, senior brother just now also used teleportation. Senior brother Zhuo Dao only used wind escape. Senior brother is the one who used teleportation. Everyone showed respect to Zhao Qianzhou. I also know teleportation, Bai Xiaoqun thought to himself, feeling unconvinced, but still feeling that Zhao Qianzhou truly possessed real skill. Especially his aura, which made him sense that his cultivation was far more powerful than the statue of Gongsun Wan'er. Time's up. What reason do you have to delay departure? The three-eyed old man looked at Zhao Qianzhou very kindly, but his voice was as cold as ice. A year ago, several disciples of our sect went missing while traveling. I found them and investigated, discovering the reason was 3 old monsters. Because they fled in 3 different directions, it took some time to chase and kill them. Zhao Qianzhou lowered his head, his right hand subtly waving, and 3 skulls flew out from his sleeve, landing on the deck of the ship, piled on top of each other. Of the 3 heads, 2 were elderly, and 1 was middle-aged. All 3 had wide, terrified eyes. From the shockwaves of their aura, it was clear that all 3 were nascent soul cultivators. Ancestor Shui He, true immortal and I Feng. That is. Old monster Yan Yan, these 3 are all nascent soul cultivators. Heavens, senior brother can kill all 3 of them. He truly lives up to his reputation. Chen Yue-san's eyes narrowed, but she remained silent. Zhuo Dao's face darkened, his breathing quickening slightly. Bai Zikun's eyes widened. He had always thought Zhao Qianzhou was powerful, but now he was even more determined not to provoke him. Well, you're better than me at this. I'll endure it. Bai Zikun thought to himself, looking at the 3 heads. The 3-eyed old man nodded slightly, said nothing, and turned to go up to the top floor of the warship, leaving the 5 nascent soul cultivators coldly watching everyone. You are all prodigies of our Starry Sky Dao Extreme Sect, and you probably already understand this trial, so we don't want to say much more. We just want to tell you one thing. Because the journey will take half a year, your accommodations on the ship will be divided according to your ranking on the Starry Sky Dao Extreme Ranking. The top 3 ranks are on the 2nd floor, where the necessary cultivation equipment is already provided. You can freely choose your own room. Ranks 4 to 10 are on the 3rd floor, and the rooms are also furnished. Ranks 11 to 100 are on the 4th floor, and all ranks from 100 onwards are on the 5th floor. A middle-aged nascent soul cultivator said coldly. The warship began to accelerate relentlessly, a fierce wind lashed against their faces, and waves surged violently. This water was highly corrosive, although it couldn't corrode the ship itself. If a cultivator's body came into contact with it, it would immediately rot. Bai Xiaochun, who had been worried, became excited after hearing about the assigned rooms. That's more like it. Higher ranks deserve better accommodations. Bai Xiaochun was thrilled and eager to see his room. Use your identity tokens to choose your rooms. Everyone disperse. The middle-aged cultivator said, then turned and flew up to the 1st floor with the nascent soul cultivators, entering their rooms without paying attention to anyone else. The cultivators on the ship quickly dispersed. The wind was too strong here, and getting seawater on them would be unpleasant. Zhao Tianzhao was the first to fly away, soaring to the 2nd floor, followed by Chen Yueisen and Zuo Dao, the three quickly disappearing. Only 3 people on an entire floor felt disheartening to see. Bai Xiaochun, however, didn't care about that and excitedly flew up to the 3rd floor. This 3rd floor had clearly been renovated, with only 7 rooms in total. He randomly chose a room, tapped his identity token against it, and the door opened. Stepping inside, he couldn't help but take a deep breath. This room was enormous, hundreds of meters in size, not just 1, but 7 rooms, including a room for alchemy. It was fully furnished and very luxurious. The floor wasn't made of wood, but of blue stone infused with spiritual energy, its surface slightly translucent, as if swirling with mist, a truly beautiful sight. The room was filled with abundant spiritual energy and a protective formation surrounded it, ensuring that no matter how noisy the outside world was, nothing could be heard inside. 6 puppet maidens served his daily needs, and windows on the walls overlooked the vast, golden sea. Outside, there was a railing where he could stand and enjoy the breeze, or even go fishing. It was midday, the sun shining brightly, and Bai Xiaochun felt an urge to go out and sunbathe. That whole room is huge, let alone him living there. Even hundreds of people could fit in it with plenty of space. This is too luxurious. The Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect treats people this way. I like it. Bai Xiaochun was delighted. After running around for a while, he sat down to cultivate. 3 days passed in a flash. During these 3 days, Bai Xiaochun was extremely satisfied with his room, especially since the puppet mechanism brought him a lot of spiritual food every day, making him very happy. There was so much spiritual food that even with his best efforts, Bai Xiaochun couldn't eat it all. This place was much more comfortable than being in the Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect. He potted his stomach comfortably, lay on a chair on the balcony, enjoying the breeze and sun, feeling incredibly blissful. I'm ranked 10th, and I'm already receiving such treatment. I wonder what kind of treatment Zhao Tianzhao and the other to get. Thinking of Zhao Tianzhao, Bai Xiaochun couldn't help but think of Song Qiu and the others. His heart skipped a beat. His room was so big, there was plenty of room for them all to share, so he happily left his room and went down to the 4th floor. He intentionally wanted to see where those people lived, so he decided to take a stroll around the 4th floor. Because there were quite a lot of people coming and going, it helped him spot some clues. The rooms on this floor were much smaller than his own, each only about 10 feet in size, yet each person still had their own room. When he reached the 5th floor, Bai Xiaochun couldn't help but squint. This floor has over 100 rooms, each not very large, and not only are they not allowed to have 1 room per person, but 5 people share 1 room. Compared to his own residence, the difference is like heaven and earth. Bai Xiaochun searched for a long time and finally found Shen Xuanzi sitting in a room with a gloomy expression, very dejected at the thought of having to stay here for more than half a year. Just as he was feeling down, he saw Bai Xiaochun. "Young master!" Shen Xuanzi immediately shouted. "All right, come with me. My room is more spacious." Bai Xiaochun waved his hand boastfully and Shen Xuanzi happily followed Bai Xiaochun. Bai Xiaochun coughed, clasped his hands behind his back, and continued searching for others. In another room, he found Song Qiu and Chen Manyo sharing a room. Seeing Bai Xiaochun, Chen Manyo smiled seductively at him, while Song Quest's expression remained gloomy as ever. He had been very annoyed these past few days, and this was the first time he had to be alone with someone else. Queer, your little aunt entrusted you to me. How can I stand by and watch you suffer? Come with your uncle to my place. I have a lot of spiritual food for each meal. You can't eat it all by yourself, Bai Xiaochun said. Song Quest's face darkened even more. He gritted his teeth and glared at Bai Xiaochun. Bai Xiaochun was secretly delighted. Song Qiu disliked him, so he disliked Song Qiu back. He occasionally mocked and ridiculed him, and was about to invite Shen Manyao along, but Shen Manyao spoke first. Brother Xiaochun, I'll go with you to your place. I know you have a lot of spiritual food for each meal. You can't eat it all by yourself. Let me help you. Shen Manyao covered her mouth and giggled, then walked over and stood next to Shen Swansea. Seeing that Song Qiu remained silent, Bai Xiaochun turned to leave. Reaching the door, he couldn't help but turn back for another look. Are you sure you want to stay? My place is much better. The spiritual energy is much denser than here. Cultivation is much faster. Song Qiu really didn't want to leave. But this room was full of unfamiliar cultivators. Thinking about having to live like this for the next 6 months, he remained silent. Bai Xiaochun's claim that his room had dense spiritual energy, allowing for faster cultivation, finally gave Song Qiu a reason. I want to surpass him. A true man knows when to yield and when to stand firm. In these 6 months, I can't let myself be left too far behind by him. I agree, only because I want to cultivate. Song Qiu convinced himself, his face darkening as he stood up and followed Bai Xiaochun. Bai Xiaochun patted Song Qiu on the shoulder. That's more like it. We're family, aren't we? I have such a good relationship with your aunt. From now on, you'll listen to me. My uncle has never mistreated you. Bai Xiaochun sighed, feeling that as an elder, he had to take care of Song Qiu no matter what. When they returned to the Reverse River sect, Song Zhenluan would surely be very moved. So he happily led the 3 of them, including Song Qiu, to the 3rd floor. Entering his room, even with his strong willpower, Song Qiu couldn't help but gape in astonishment. Looking at the enormous room, the piles of spiritual herbs, the puppets, the blue stone floor, and the balcony, his heart ached. He resolved to cultivate diligently, to strive to break into the top 10. The treatment here was simply too different from his own. The divine calculator looked out the window. For the past 3 days, he had to go outside to see the sunlight. His room was noisy and shaky, but Bai Xiaochun's place not only had a window, but even a balcony. Chen Manyao was stunned. The discrimination in the Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect was truly too great, making her feel bitter. Although Bai Xiaochun intended to show off, the expressions of the 3 made him worried about being misunderstood, so he quickly explained, "It's all my fault. If I had worked a little harder last time, I might have reached one of the top 3. I heard that the other 3's residences are even bigger than this one. Mine is just average." Bai Xiaochun really wanted to explain, but his words, when heard by the 3, took on a completely different meaning. Bai Xiaochun sensed something was wrong and was about to explain further when a deafening scream echoed from the sea. The scream was so loud that even with the soundproofing formation protecting the room, it was still clearly audible. The warship was violently rocked by the sound waves. Bai Xiaochun and the other 3 hurried to the balcony and looked out at the sea. In the distance, they saw a silver beam of light rising from the seabed. The warship's violent shaking was caused by the waves created by the silver beam of light as it broke through the water. This silver beam of light was extraordinary. Bai Xiaochun couldn't see what was inside the silver beam of light, but he sensed the aura of the heavenly Tao within it. Bai Xiaochun was a golden core cultivator of the heavenly Tao, so he was very sensitive to the aura of the heavenly Tao. What is that? Bai Xiaochun opened the eye in his forehead, using his heaven-penetrating Dharma eye to look into the distance. However, the moment he saw it, his forehead ached intensely. He quickly closed his eyes, and blood gushed from the heaven-penetrating Dharma eye. Bai Xiaochun couldn't clearly see the object within the silver light, but he could make out its shape. It was a fish-like creature, silver in color, seemingly injured, rushing forward in a hurry, blood flowing from its body, also silver. As the silver light appeared, the 3-eyed old man in the heavenly human realm on the 1st floor, who had been meditating, suddenly opened his eyes wide. His 3rd eye blinked rapidly, and joy flashed in his eyes. Silver moon dragon fish! 5 of you, Kong Lai, immediately follow me out to capture that beast. The old man shouted, instantly appearing in the air. The 5 nascent soul cultivators on the second floor also quickly teleported out, their eyes filled with longing as they gazed at the silver light in the distance. Go capture that dragonfish for me, and all 5 of you will be rewarded. The 3-eyed old man's greed blazed as he swiftly sped off, the 5 nascent soul cultivators following closely behind. In an instant, the 6 of them had disappeared into the distance. On the warship, many people were startled and ran to the deck to watch. Zhao Tianzhou soared into the air, looking up at the sky, followed by Chen Yue said, but Zhu Dao was nowhere to be seen. Unbeknownst to anyone, inside the room, Gongsun Water stood by the window, gazing at the white light, a sinister smile playing on her lips. A drop of silver blood dripped from her right index finger, which she licked. Now I can finally enjoy my meal, Gongsun Water chuckled softly. The 6 3-eyed old men moved with incredible speed, as did the warship. So in about 10 breaths, they were no longer visible to each other. Initially, everyone murmured amongst themselves, but then fell silent. The nascent soul and heavenly human cultivators had all departed, leaving only the vast, boundless sea surrounding them, creating a sense of unease. 3 days passed, and the 6 had yet to return. Everyone on the ship felt an indescribable, invisible pressure. Day after day, Songqiu and the others stayed in Bai Xiaochun's room, each occupying a separate room, diligently cultivating. Bai Xiaochun was not far from achieving the great perfection of the golden core stage, believing himself to be incredibly powerful, so he spent most of his time on the balcony, basking in the sun and gazing at the sea. Not far from his balcony was the deck of a warship, where several cultivators were present, including Gongsun Water, who was also looking out at the sea. Bai Xiaochun held a chilled bottle of spiritual nectar and took a sip. This is what life is like, Bai Xiaochun sighed refreshingly, with 2 puppets massaging his shoulders behind him. The sea was calm with no strong waves or winds. The surface was like a dazzling golden mirror, indescribably beautiful. Bai Xiaochun had gradually become accustomed to the strong sea breezes, and as for the seawater, with his cultivation techniques, even if he did get splashed with it, it would only last for a short time. Moreover, the warship was surrounded by formations, and the violent spiritual energy, after passing through, would be purified and become much gentler. Bai Xiaochun turned his head to look at the hall behind him, seeing Songqiu and the other 2 sitting seriously cultivating, feeling very bored and wanting to find someone to talk to. These guys are really something. They only have half a year to enjoy life and they don't know how to enjoy it. When the ship docks and they enter the branch sect in the Great Wall, how will they be able to relax like this anymore? It would be so much better if Subeo Kai were here, Bai Xiaochun sighed, took a sip of spiritual nectar, feeling too bored, and was wondering if he should go for a walk when his eyes suddenly caught sight of something. On the distant sea, some golden fish leapt out of the water, making a brilliant golden arc before falling back down. Those fish were all as big as an arm, with shimmering golden scales. What was astonishing was that they had 2 heads not growing side by side, but rather they lacked tails. The second head was located where the tail should have been. Golden autumn fish B. Ai Xiaochun jumped up. This bizarre fish, recorded in the Spirit Beast Chronicle, was an extremely rare type of spiritual fish. Bai Xiaochun's eyes widened. This type of fish didn't need to be refined into a spirit medicine. It could be eaten directly. Regular consumption would help expand the meridians in the body and broaden the range of spiritual consciousness, greatly benefiting cultivators. If the golden autumn fish was over 100 years old, it could even provide significant assistance during the nascent soul stage. Suddenly, a gigantic one, 10 times larger than the others, emerged from the crowd of golden autumn fish and soared into the air. This fish also had 2 heads and golden scales, the scales reflecting the sunlight, dazzling brightly. 100-year autumn fish. Bai Xiaochun immediately raised his hand and pointed at the fish. A stream of icy energy flew out, wrapping around the fish, but was repelled by a powerful force, causing Bai Xiaochun to stumble and almost fall backward. Bai Xiaochun quickly turned his head and shouted, "Suer Hanhanzi, little Manyu, come here quickly, there's a treasure here." Sangzu and the others opened their eyes, looked out the balcony, and all saw the giant fish. Sangzu was the first to rush out, followed by Chan Manyu and Shen Swanzi. "Come and help, let's catch it together and have it for today's meal." Bai Xiaochun was excited, channeling his cultivation and giving it his all. Although the fish still fell back into the sea, It was still wrapped around by Bai Xiaoqian's icy energy and pulled back. The fish thrashed violently, causing waves to surge. Fortunately, Song Qiu and his group arrived. With a single gesture, a stream of energy flew out and enveloped the fish. Shen Swansea threw out his magic weapon. Chen Manya was the most unusual. She opened her mouth and spat out a pale pink mist, which condensed into a hawk. It let out a loud cry and flew forward, its two talons with sharp claws gripping the fish. Bai Xiaochun happily shouted, "Everyone, keep going! Don't let it escape!" The fish struggled continuously, causing huge waves to surge, and the shouts attracted the attention of many cultivators. Gongsun Wanner, not far from Bai Xiaochun's balcony, also looked up, saw the fish, and witnessed Bai Xiaochun and his group's actions. Gongsun Wanner smiled happily, pointed at the fish, and unleashed her cultivation to help Bai Xiaochun and his group capture the golden autumn fish. Seeing Gongsun Wanner's help and realizing she had no intention of competing with him, Bai Xiaochun was deeply moved and shouted, "Wanner, if we catch the fish, come and have dinner with us." Gongsun Wanner tilted her head and smiled. "Dinner, we get to eat today?" "Okay," Bai Xiaochun replied without hesitation. Everyone worked together, and as the fish's struggles weakened, they all exerted their strength simultaneously. With a loud bang, the large fish was pulled straight onto the deck. Bai Xiaochun was about to jump in when someone on the deck rushed out and pointed at the fish. A hand suddenly appeared in midair, striking the fish with great force. The fish only managed a single cry before being killed by the large hand. The large hand grabbed the fish and pulled it towards the young man, who waved his hand and put it into his storage bag. "What are you doing?" Bai Xiaochun shouted, trying to stop him, but it was too late. Angrily, he flew down to the ship's deck. "We spotted that fish first, and we weakened it before we could catch it and bring it here. What you did is robbery?" Bai Xiaochun stared intently at the young man. He recognized him. He was currently ranked 5th on the Starry Sky Dao Extreme ranking, Zifeng. "Ridiculous. Now that it's in my hands, it's mine." Zifeng sneered, looking contemptuously at Bai Xiaochun and Gongsun Wanner. "Jin Qiuyu?" Zifeng had already seen this fish, but on the warship. Except for the 3 people including Zhao Tianzhao, he didn't pay any attention to anyone else. As for this fish, if he saw it, he'd just steal it. He had some reservations about Bai Xiaochun, but he was confident he could easily subdue him. Even with Gongsun Wanner's help, Zifeng was still confident. Because Bai Xiaochun wasn't the only one with support, Zifeng also had followers. This is outrageous. Bai Xiaochun was furious and was about to charge forward, but Shen Swansea pulled him back. "It's just a fish. We don't need to clash with him, otherwise we'll be at a disadvantage later when we get to the branch sect." Song Qiu gritted his teeth. Bai Xiaochun snorted, knowing that Song Qiu and Shen Swansea didn't want to offend Zifeng. If he insisted on attacking, they would all be implicated, so he had to restrain himself. With such arrogance, he'll definitely die quickly when he gets to the savage wilderness. Bai Xiaochun muttered, dejectedly returning to his room. Only when he was far away did Gongsun Wanner smile, watching Zifeng leave, licking her lips. "Looks delicious. Nothing happened that night." Bai Xiaochun sat cross-legged in his room, feeling increasingly uneasy about the day's events. "No, this can't just go like this. Although Zifeng has some talent, I, Bai Xiaochun, am no less capable than him. I must teach him a lesson, leave him with an unforgettable mark." Bai Xiaochun opened his storage bag, intending to take out the little black turtle, but after searching for a long time, he couldn't find it anywhere. As dawn broke and the morning sun began to appear, a heart-wrenching scream suddenly erupted from the 3rd floor of Bai Xiaochun's building in the quiet space. The scream was filled with fear and despair, like the cry of someone dying, so loud that everyone could hear it clearly. "What's going on?" Bai Xiaochun was startled. The prodigies of the 3rd floor all rushed out, including Bai Xiaochun. Zhao Tianzhou and Chen Yuisan from the 2nd floor also appeared, running towards the source of the scream. It was a room on the 3rd floor, and inside there was a dried corpse. This room belonged to Zifeng, and the dried corpse? Bai Xiaochun had to stare for a while before he realized it was indeed the person who had stolen his fish yesterday. Zifeng. This, Bai Xiaochun gasped. Tic Feng's body was shriveled, no different from a skeleton, clearly not long dead, but there were already signs of decay on his body. Most importantly, and most bizarrely, there wasn't a single drop of blood left in him. Everyone was terrified. It's worth noting that Tic Fang was a great perfection core formation cultivator with extraordinary combat power, yet there wasn't a single trace of a battle in the room, as if Tic Fang had been drained dry in an instant. Moreover, the room was filled with a chilling, eerie atmosphere. Besieged Tiuthun stared at Tic Fang's corpse, his eyes wide. He had spent the entire night thinking about how to deal with him, and now, unexpectedly, he was dead. He's dead? This method of death seemed familiar, but before he could remember, the divine calculator and Tang Kai's faces turned pale with fear. If the three-eyed old men were here, things would be fine. They would naturally investigate. But now that the elders are absent, no one can think of a solution, so they all turned to look at Zhao Qianzhao. Zhao Qianzhao approached, carefully examining Zifang's corpse, his face gradually changing color. Something unclean has appeared on our ship. Everyone must be careful. Everyone around shuddered, and Bai Xiaochun's scalp tingled. Bai Xiaochun and his group returned to their room, trembling as he looked at Song Qiu and the other two. Do you feel that corpse looks familiar? Bai Xiaochun hastily asked. Young master, this corpse looks very similar to that incident at the Reverse River sect. Shen Xuanzi couldn't hide his fear. Exactly the same, Song Qiu said softly. Me too, I died in the same way, completely identical, Chen Manya almost whispered. No wonder it looked familiar. Zhao Qianzhao's words reminded him of what happened at the Reverse River sect, and now with 3 more people confirming it, there was no doubt left. He trembled from the bottom of his heart. Damn it, how could this happen? I've come all the way here, and that unclean thing is still chasing after me. The more Bai Xiaochun thought about it, the more frightened he became. He quickly pulled out a bunch of exorcism talismans and pasted them on himself. But even that wasn't enough. He urged Shen Xuanzi and Song Qiu to set up a dozen formations in his room. Not content with that, he decided not to go out again. He even set up formations in his own room and scattered a bunch of soul-gathering pills everywhere. I have exorcism talismans, formations, and soul-gathering pills. As long as that unclean thing knows how to judge things, it definitely won't come to bother me. It definitely will. If it does come to bother me, it definitely won't have a good ending. Bai Xiaochun kept encouraging himself, thinking that with Song Qiu and the others also here, if that unclean thing came, the chances of it coming to find him would be smaller. What kind of demon is it, after all? Why hasn't that old man Chen returned yet? Bai Xiaochun anxiously looked outside as the sky darkened. He had been restless and worried all night, and so had Song Qiu, Shen Xuanzi, Chen Manyao, and the other prodigies and disciples. The deaths of ordinary people were one thing, but Zifang, ranked 5th on the Starry Sky Dao Extreme ranking with extraordinary combat power, had almost died in an instant, causing everyone immense unease. As dawn broke, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Bai Xiaochun was still uneasy, setting up another exorcism formation in his room, regretting that he didn't know how to draw talismans. Otherwise, he would have covered himself with exorcism talismans. 3 days passed without another death, and the atmosphere on the ship eased somewhat. Cultivators reappeared on the deck, all eagerly awaiting the return of the 3-eyed old man. Half a month passed, the elders still hadn't returned, but thankfully no one else died on the ship. And Bai Xiaochun breathed a sigh of relief. Maybe I was mistaken. It wasn't due to something unclean, but that fish. Bai Xiaochun pondered. He couldn't be sure if the 100-year-old golden autumn fish was the cause, but locking himself in his room wasn't a good idea. He wasn't one to sit idly by, so he decided to discuss the matter with the 3 divine calculators. The 3 divine calculators hadn't dared to immerse themselves in cultivation for the past few days, so after hearing Bai Xiaochun's words, they decided to go out for a walk. Therefore, after being confined to their rooms for half a month, Bai Xiaochun finally emerged. He went to the deck, and Gongsun Wanner, seemingly bored, smiled and joined them upon seeing Bai Xiaochun and his group. Many cultivators went onto the deck, some in groups of 3, others alone. Bai Xiaochun had the largest group. Behind him, Song Qiu, habitually radiating a murderous aura, seemed to warn others to stay away. The divine calculator walked close to Bai Xiaochun like a butler. As for Gongsun Wanner, already beautiful, and Chen Manyao, equally stunning, having 2 women by his side made him even more noticeable. The surrounding monks looked at Bai Xiaochun with even more envy at his good fortune. Bai Xiaochun felt the sea breeze, took a deep breath, and looked up at the sky. Looking out at the endless golden sea, the pressure in his heart eased considerably. Sigh, such a wonderful journey has been ruined, Bai Xiaochun lamented, his eyes scanning the surroundings. He noticed everyone was looking at him, so he turned to look at them. After seeing Gongsun Water and Chen Manyao beside him, the two women smiled at him simultaneously. Their faces were different, their smiles different, but both were incredibly beautiful, and Bai Xiaochun's spirits lifted considerably. Seemingly discovering something new in the following period, Bai Xiaochun resolutely took everyone out for walks every day, specifically choosing crowded places to chat and laugh with Chen Manyao and Gongsun Water. Each time the two women smiled at him, many people would stare at him. The more this happened, the more interested Bai Xiaochun became, and he became less averse to Gongsun Water than before. Gongsun Water smiled beautifully. Bai Xiaochun looked around smugly, seeing Zhao Tianzhou standing alone like a rock not far away. For the past few days, he had seen Zhao Tianzhou and Chen Yue-san on the ship's deck. These two were top 3 ranked powerhouses, so they were high and mighty, not needing to be close to anyone. Naturally, many cultivators would approach them. Currently, there were 7 or 8 people standing beside Zhao Tianzhou, like his attendants. Bai Xiaochun recognized a few of them. They were the cultivators from the Rainbow Void, the ones he had asked to buy the 7-colored mists Tigras for him, but had been treated with contempt and disdain. HMPH, why are these powerhouses so cold? Zhao Tianzhou put on a haughty air, as did Chen Yue-san, and then there was that Zhuo Dou fellow, who rarely interacted with others and spent all day in seclusion. Bai Xiaochun's gaze swept over the two men, then he whispered to Shen Xuanzi, it's possible that in other people's minds, they should be like that. Shen Xuanzi hesitated for a moment before replying. Bai Xiaochun pondered for a while. As he was considering the matter, his eyes fell on Zhao Tianzhou, but suddenly Zhao Tianzhou turned around and looked at Bai Xiaochun. Their eyes met invisibly for a moment. Zhao Tianzhou's expression was calm, and a bright light shone in his eyes, a light that dazzled Bai Xiaochun. Even though he was very afraid of death in this life, what he feared most was not a clash of eyes. At that moment of dazzlement, a bright light also shone in Bai Xiaochun's eyes as he looked at Zhao Tianzhou. Their eyes met invisibly, but their minds underwent a transformation. Bai Xiaochun's expression changed, and he stopped walking, while Zhao Tianzhou withdrew his gaze. He didn't stand still but walked towards Bai Xiaochun. Zhao Tianzhou was the number 1 on the Starry Sky Dao ranking, attracting attention wherever he went. Any action he took drew scrutiny. Seeing him approach Bai Xiaochun, many people watched intently, especially since Zhao Tianzhou had 7 or 8 attendants behind him, who also approached Bai Xiaochun. Song Qiu, beside Bai Xiaochun, became serious. Shen Xuanzi was stunned, his expression becoming solemn. Chen Manyao was surprised. She stood beside Bai Xiaochun. Only Gongsun Water remained calm, though she showed a hint of interest when looking at Zhao Tianzhou. Everyone on the deck watched Zhao Tianzhou approach. Those around him were silent, their gazes fixed intently on him as he stood before Bai Xiaochun. His face was icy cold, his body like a sharp sword about to be unsheathed, his aura like a solid mountain seemingly capable of encompassing everything. His gaze, which had been scrutinizing Bai Xiaochun for a moment, turned cold. Bai Xiaochun blinked a few times, surprised. He didn't understand why Zhao Tianzhou had come to see him, thinking he had only met him a few times, only faced him a few times, and they hadn't even exchanged a single word. Brother Zhao. Bai Xiaochun couldn't help but ask, Brother Bai, please come over here to talk. As Bai Xiaochun spoke, Zhao Tianzhou invited him to another place. Although he didn't exude any imposing aura, his status and achievements were enough to inspire awe. Bai Xiaochun was stunned, then nodded after thinking for a moment. He wasn't wary, but rather curious about what a powerful figure like Zhao Tianzhou wanted with him. Zhao Tianzhou's expression remained as cold as before. He only stopped when he reached a spot near the bow of the ship. The cultivators standing there all moved aside, leaving an open space for the two of them. Bai Xiaochun was still curious. He approached with a wary heart. Although he felt that Zhao Tianzhou had no ill intentions, he still felt a sense of caution. When they reached this spot, Bai Xiaochun stood beside Zhao Tianzhou. Zhao Tianzhou raised his right hand, his finger pointing into the void. At that moment, a beam of light appeared, enveloping the surroundings and forming a seal. This seal didn't offer any protection, but it was very effective at soundproofing and blocking spiritual senses. Obviously, what he intended to say to Bai Xiaochun was not meant for others to hear. Bai Xiaochun became even more curious, waiting for Zhao Tianzhou to speak. Zhao Tianzhou remained silent, and after a long while, he looked directly at Bai Xiaochun, his face serious, as if he were preparing to say something very important from the bottom of his heart. This scene piqued Bai Xiaochun's curiosity, drawing the attention of those around him. "Senior brother, do you need to see Bai Xiaochun about something?" "No, could it be related to Zifang's death?" "I think Zifang's death is connected to Bai Xiaochun. There was some conflict between them before Zifang died." Everyone was whispering amongst themselves. Bai Xiaochun looked at Zhao Tianzhou, a suspicion forming in his mind. "Junior brother Bai." As Bai Xiaochun continued his speculation, Zhao Tianzhou took a deep breath and slowly spoke. Bai Xiaochun listened intently. "Junior brother Bai, those two girls beside you are quite beautiful." Zhao Tianzhou's expression was serious as he looked at Bai Xiaochun, speaking slowly. "Ah." Bai Xiaochun was stunned. He widened his eyes, staring at the serious expression on the other's face, and after hearing what the other said, thought he had misheard. Junior brother, you shouldn't misunderstand. I don't have feelings for those two girls. I just want to know how you pursued them. I've observed you for a few days. What methods did you use to get these two stunning girls to follow you?" Zhao Tianzhou's expression remained unchanged, still cold, still arrogant, still like a blade about to be unsheathed. But his words surprised Bai Xiaochun. He couldn't believe his ears. If he hadn't heard him speak and only seen his expression, Bai Xiaochun wouldn't have guessed that the other's serious demeanor would lead to such words. Bai Xiaochun scratched his head, quite surprised. He felt that the other person's demeanor and words were completely different, and he replied unconsciously, "They were the ones who actively clung to me. Even if I chased them away, they wouldn't leave." Zhao Tianzhou's expression became even more serious upon hearing this, frowning as if he couldn't believe it. Given his status and powerful combat strength, his frown now gave off a feeling of impending storm. The two were talking and heard by outsiders, who could only observe Bai Xiaochun and Zhao Tianzhou's expressions. Seeing Bai Xiaochun's astonished and disbelieving face, they began to speculate. "There must be something wrong. Look." Bai Xiaochun scratched his head, bewildered. "Something strange. Senior brother's expression is extremely serious." He seemed to disbelieve it. While everyone was speculating, Songqiu and Shen Xuanzi were extremely surprised, not knowing what Bai Xiaochun and Zhao Tianzhou were discussing. Chen Manyao was also quite curious. Only Gongsun Wan'er was smiling. At the bow of the ship, Bai Xiaochun hadn't yet reacted to Zhao Tianzhou's words. He looked at Zhao Tianzhou strangely, thinking that the other party was his senior brother, ranked first on the Starry Sky Dao Extreme ranking with unfathomable cultivation, capable of killing nascent soul cultivators. I should make good friends with someone like this. That way, if anyone provokes me in the future, I'll have someone to help me. Moreover, after arriving in the savage wilderness, it might bring many advantages. Thinking this, Xiaochun smiled, raised his right hand and patted Zhao Tianzhou on the shoulder, adopting the demeanor of an experienced person, with a calm and composed air. "Senior brother." Zhao Tianzhou felt uncomfortable and wanted to avoid it, but hearing Bai Xiaochun's words, which seemed to carry a profound meaning, he restrained himself and allowed Bai Xiaochun to pat him on the shoulder. "Don't disbelieve me, senior brother. You only see the two of them. When I was at the Reverse River sect, tens of thousands of people wrote love letters to me," Bai Xiaochun said with a sigh, his words betraying a hint of pride. Zhao Tianzhou frowned, feeling that Bai Xiaochun was exaggerating. The expressions on their faces caught the attention of those around them, immediately sparking more gossip, especially since they saw Bai Xiaochun pat Zhao Tianzhou on the shoulder. And Zhao Tianzhou didn't refuse. This was the most unbelievable thing in the world. They knew that Zhao Tianzhou was a high and mighty figure, extremely arrogant, usually cold and aloof. The scene they witnessed shattered this perception, and their shock was understandable. At the bow of the ship, Zhao Tianzhou frowned. Seeing Bai Xiaochun's disappointed expression, he said nothing and turned to leave. "HMPH, still don't believe me, do you? Look at this." Bai Xiaochun, who either didn't do something or did it completely, hated it when others didn't believe him. He potted his storage bag, and with a wave of his hand, countless love letters flew out like rain. Bai Xiaochun continued to take them out. Because there were so many love letters, they piled up into a small mountain in an instant. He picked up the love letters to examine them, becoming increasingly horrified as he read, his expression changing drastically. He discovered that these love letters were real. Moreover, they clearly had different handwriting, making them impossible to forge. There were even quite a few jade slips containing preserved images. This. As he read these love letters, Zhao Tianzhao's breathing became increasingly rapid, his heart surging like a tidal wave. After a long while, he looked up at Bai Xiaochun as if he were a god. Well, do you believe me now? This is only a part of it. I have many more in my storage bag, Bai Xiaochun said proudly, stroking his chin. When I was in the Reverse River sect, I had tens of thousands of female cultivators pursuing me. Currently, everyone is constantly speculating and discussing among themselves. Because they can't hear and their spiritual senses are blocked, their gazes towards Bai Xiaochun and Zhao Tianzhao have become strange. Especially when many love letters fall out, they are quite surprised. At first, they didn't sense anything, but those love letters are rather peculiar. For example, some even have pictures on them. What are those things? My God, senior brother is flipping through them again. I think they look like love letters. Nonsense! Have you ever seen anyone with so many love letters? There are at least 10,000 of them. They're clearly not love letters. Besides, senior brother's expression is changing more and more as he looks at them. They must contain some shocking secret. I think Bai Xiaochun is unfathomable. While everyone was speculating, Chen Manyo recognized the love letters and immediately snapped, looking at Bai Xiaochun and Zhao Tianzhao, feeling a mixture of amusement and exasperation. Before anyone outside could get a closer look, Zhao Tianzhao took a deep breath, raised his right hand, and swung it forcefully. He increased the protective barrier, blocking not only sound and spiritual sense, but also creating a hazy effect, making it impossible for anyone outside to see Zhao Tianzhao and Bai Xiaochun clearly. After parting ways, Zhao Tianzhao sighed, his expression extremely serious. He clasped his hands and bowed to Bai Xiaochun. Junior brother Bai, you possess such extraordinary skills at such a young age. I wonder if you could impart a few of them to your humble brother. Bai Xiaochun was stunned again, looking at the serious Zhao Tianzhao before him. A strange feeling arose once more, and he spoke again to confirm. You want to learn? Bai Xiaochun asked curiously. I respectfully request junior brother Bai to teach me. This concerns my lifelong happiness. I will never forget this great kindness. Zhao Tianzhao's expression was solemn. He took a deep breath and bowed. Bai Xiaochun blinked a few times, finally understanding clearly. The guy in front of him, despite his cold and aloof demeanor, actually desperately wanted a girlfriend. Bai Xiaochun chuckled. We're brothers, so whatever you want to teach me, find some time to come to my room. I'm willing to share everything I know. Whatever you want to know, I'll tell you. I, Bai Xiaochun, the love saint, have never failed with any woman. Bai Xiaochun patted his chest proudly. Zhao Tianzhao breathed a sigh of relief, not immediately setting a time with Bai Xiaochun. After bowing respectfully, he removed the seal and left with a serious expression. Bai Xiaochun also collected his pile of love letters, his face beaming with pride as he swaggered away. After arriving in front of the divine calculator and the others, the divine calculator was extremely curious. Even though Songqiu didn't want to, he couldn't help but look at Bai Xiaochun several times. Young master, what did you and Zhao Tianzhao talk about? The divine calculator hastily asked. I can't say this concerns the most important matter in senior brother Zhao's life. It's not easy to reveal. Bai Xiaochun took a deep breath, shook his head profoundly, clasped his hands behind his back, and walked back to his room with a smug expression. The more he remained silent, the more curious Shen Xuanzi became. Not only him, but everyone around him was equally curious, wanting to find out but unable to find any clues. 3 days passed quickly. During these 3 days, Bai Xiaochun didn't go out. He waited in his room, thinking that Zhao Tianzhao would surely come to him. Shen Xuanzi, seeing Bai Xiaochun's demeanor, repeatedly inquired. Finally, Bai Xiaoqun cleared his throat and said, "I'm waiting for someone." Zhao Tianzhao Shen Xuanzi was startled, and Song Qiu also perked up his ears. That's right, because on this entire warship, only I, Bai Xiaoqun, can help him. Bai Xiaoqun replied indifferently, then closed his eyes as if meditating, his heart filled with smug satisfaction. Shen Xuanzi and Song Qiu exchanged glances, their hearts filled with bewilderment. Before they could ponder for long, at sunset on the third day, Zhao Tianzhao's voice echoed from outside Bai Xiaoqun's room. "Is junior brother Bai there?" Upon hearing this, Shen Xuanzi and Song Qiu both looked towards Bai Xiaoqun, who slowly opened his eyes. "Queer, why don't you go open the door?" "Man Yao, step aside." Chen Minyao looked at Bai Xiaoqun, snorting. She had already guessed a little, and now she gracefully went back to her room. As for Song Qiu, his eyes widened. Thinking of his current situation as a dependent, he could only grit his teeth and go open the door. Outside, Zhao Tianzhao appeared, his expression serious. He entered the room, followed by two attendants. The attendants' expressions were unpredictable. They were two members of the demon-subduing hall whom Bai Xiaoqun had previously visited hoping to obtain medicinal herbs, only to be refused. One had demanded 1,000,000 contribution points, while the other had stated he needed to go into seclusion for several years. They never imagined Bai Xiaoqun would later break through and enter the Purple Rainbow, becoming famous throughout the sect. They had considered this unimaginable, as they were Zhao Tianzhao's attendants and therefore didn't worry about Bai Xiaoqun's revenge. But today, they found it unbelievable that Zhao Tianzhao had taken the initiative to get acquainted with Bai Xiaoqun. It seemed there was some kind of relationship between them, especially since they had seen Zhao Tianzhao's solemn expression upon arriving, and even his polite demeanor at Bai Xiaoqun's door. This further shocked them. "Junior brother Bai, I've long admired junior sister Yue Shan, but I don't know how to approach her. Please teach me. As for the reward, whatever junior brother Bai desires, as long as I can do it, I will certainly do my best. Even if it's a heavenly beast soul, I can obtain it." After entering the room, Zhao Tianzhao took a deep breath. Ignoring Shen Xuanzi and Song Qiu, who were present, he looked towards Bai Xiaoqun, clasped his hands together, and bowed deeply. Shen Xuanzi gasped, and Song Qiu, standing beside him, gaped in astonishment. No matter how they thought about it, they never imagined that the arrogant Zhao Tianzhao, after entering Bai Xiaoqun's room, would utter such a domineering statement. Not only were they stunned, but Zhao Tianzhao's two attendants were also surprised. Especially when Zhao Tianzhao offered a reward of heavenly beast souls, their hearts pounded. A portion of heavenly beast souls could be exchanged for a nascent soul pill in the sect. Its value was immense. While the four were surprised, Bai Xiaoqun remained seated cross-legged, never getting up. Now he frowned, his expression displeased. "Brother Zhao, I, Bai Xiaoqun, felt a connection with you the moment I met you. I agreed to help you because you sincerely asked, but you demanded a reward. Do you think I, Bai Xiaoqun, would value such a reward?" Bai Xiaoqun snorted coldly, seemingly very angry, and waved his sleeve to dismiss him. "Heavenly beast souls, humph, if I, Bai Xiaoqun, want something, I will obtain it myself. I won't use this method to get it. Brother Zhao, please leave. I won't see you off." Bai Xiaoqun's face darkened as he spoke angrily. The moment he uttered those words, the divine calculator and Song Qiu held their breath. The two attendants behind Zhao Tianzhao were even more startled. They had never encountered anyone of their generation speaking to Zhao Tianzhao in such a manner. Before they could react and shout, Zhao Tianzhao raised his head, stopping them. He gazed at Bai Xiaoqun for a long time, his eyes filled with profound meaning. After a while, Zhao Tianzhao burst into laughter. A smile rarely appeared on his face, but now he smiled as if he had never smiled before. "It was my recklessness, junior brother, please don't be angry." This smile was sincere, and the hearts of his two attendants pounded. They had followed Zhao Tianzhao for a long time, and they had never seen him smile before, so they found it unbelievable. At this moment, they were even more wary of Bai Xiaoqun. Bai Xiaoqun laughed heartily and stood up. "Senior brother, I'm not one to play tricks to raise the price. I'm helping you without any reward. If there's any reward, it's our friendship." Bai Xiaoqun felt that his words were very stylish, and he felt even more pleased with himself. Shen Xuanzi and Song Qiu looked at each other, and Zhao Tianzhao also stared at Bai Xiaoqun for a moment, his smile still carrying sincerity. He shook his head and then sat down in front of Bai Xiaochun. I like Chen Yue-san, Xiaochun. What should I do? Bai Xiaochun also sat down. He took out the spirit nectar, and Shen Swansea cleverly stepped forward to pour wine for the two of them. Bai Xiaochun took a sip from his cup, his eyes filled with an otherworldly aura. Zhao Tianzhou didn't urge him. He also took a sip from his cup, waiting for Bai Xiaochun's answer. After half a day, Bai Xiaochun reorganized his thoughts, his expression gradually becoming calm and composed, his demeanor no different from that of an enlightened sage. He spoke, love in this world is ever-changing, entangled in all sorts of unclear circumstances. Very few can clearly explain it, and there are too many things involved: personality, work, status, relationships, and many other trivial matters. You like someone, it seems simple, but how to make her like you back is a whole different subject. Bai Xiaochun raised his hand to his chin, his voice drifting uncertainly as if lost in deep thought. Shen Swansea's eyes widened, while Songqiu concealed his disdain. The two exchanged glances, both feeling that Bai Xiaochun's words were merely boasting, their hearts filled with contempt. Zhao Tianzhou cleared his throat, about to say something, when suddenly Bai Xiaochun looked directly at him, his eyes flashing with a bright, piercing gaze. The next words I want to speak are a secret that I, Bai Xiaochun, have compiled over half my life. Whoever possesses it can cause the heavens and earth to lose their color, and the winds and clouds to reverse. If it falls into the hands of someone with evil intentions, it will inevitably lead to the tragedy of countless women, and even cause widespread suffering therefore. You must remember not to reveal it to anyone outside. Love is a battlefield. You must win on the battlefield, and you must win in love. Therefore, I, Bai Xiaochun, have condensed the secrets of half my life into one word, and that word is victory. Bai Xiaochun's voice rose. Victory means being able to disregard the moon and the earth. Disregard represents having the awareness to face danger in all circumstances. Mouth represents having excellent communication skills. Moon represents opportune timing. Back represents your status. And earth represents having a calm inner self. Only then can you succeed. Bai Xiaochun's words caused Zhao Tianzhou's expression to change. Not only him, but the divine calculator's expression also changed. Songquest's mind raced, and Zhao Tianzhou's two attendants felt as if they understood. In their entire lives, they had never heard such words, and the more they thought about it, the more they felt it. Made sense. This is the untransmitted secret of the love saint. Bai Xiaochun, summarized by me, the winning character. Secret. Bai Xiaochun slapped the ground, the sound startling everyone. Ah, the divine calculator, who had been contemplating the winning character secret, looked at Bai Xiaochun with a greatly changed expression. Songqiu was stunned. He couldn't imagine that someone like Bai Xiaochun could summarize such profound things. Zhao Tianzhou also regained his composure, looking directly at Bai Xiaochun. Now he truly believed and revered Bai Xiaochun as a god. Although the winning character secret was short, it was like a thunderclap in the night sky, a ray of hope in the darkness. A person who can summarize the unpredictable changes of heaven and earth and love into a single word. How profound is this person's power? Zhao Tianzhou took a deep breath, hastily stood up, and bowed to Bai Xiaochun. Bai Xiaochun's expression was calm. He produced a fan from somewhere and slowly fanned himself, a smile playing on his face, as if everything was under his control. In fact, the Yingzi wasn't something Bai Xiaochun had devised himself. The night burial soul played a significant supporting role. After all, the night burial soul had countless love stories throughout the bloodstream set back then, although each one was filled with blood and tears. It must be admitted that the night burial soul possessed unique techniques. Others wouldn't have succeeded so many times. These are just general rules. I'm telling you the Yingzi so you understand that the battlefield of love is like a battlefield. Bai Xiaochun raised his head, a profound look in his eyes, as if reminiscing, speaking calmly. Now I will explain the essence of the Yingzi in detail. The first point of Wang Kao Liet Boy Fam is the word Wang, which signifies that you must have a strong sense of danger, constantly maintaining this feeling in your heart, always using it to remind yourself. After all, seeing your sister Chen is naturally beautiful, possesses exceptional talent, and has an outstanding appearance. Don't be fooled by the fact that she doesn't have a partner yet. You must know that countless people in the Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect secretly admire her. To put it simply, there are too many people on this ship who like her. If you don't have a sense of danger, you will fail. Bai Xiaochun glanced at Zhao Qianzhao, his words sounding like a warning. Zhao Qianzhao, suddenly understanding, was shaken to his core. He truly liked Chen Yue-san, but due to his personality, he didn't know how to express his feelings, let alone how to pursue her. In desperation, he encountered Bai Xiaochun always accompanied by stunning women, which led to his visit 3 days ago. Moved by Bai Xiaochun's love letter and then by Ying Ziju's words, he now trusted Bai Xiaochun even more. Hearing these words, he became anxious. What should I do now? Don't be impatient. I haven't finished yet. You must sense the danger. Remember, don't let this feeling show. Keep it in your heart. You must understand the situation. Your time is running out. Bai Xiaochun said meaningfully, gazing deeply at Zhao Qianzhao. Zhao Qianzhao tried to calm himself down. Once he had calmed down, a look of admiration appeared in Bai Xiaochun's eyes, and he continued, next, you said you liked senior sister Chen. I don't need to ask to know that you definitely haven't told her, nor have you taken any action. That's not good. Don't rush to confess. You need to interact with her more, and your conversations must be humorous. That's the most important thing. However, don't worry. I'll teach you how to say it. This is verbal communication. Zhao Qianzhao wanted to say something, but ultimately he remained silent. After hearing Bai Xiaochun's words, Zhao Qianzhao felt even more grateful. Then comes the opportune moment. Right now is the opportune moment. We're in the same boat, and you're on the same deck. That's the geographical advantage. You have the geographical advantage, and I have the human element. This matter will surely succeed. Bai Xiaochun clapped his hands 3 times and said something very confidently. Next is back. No need to say much. You already have enough of this. Finally, there's ordinary. This is also crucial. It seems the opposite of forgetfulness, but it's not. You have a sense of danger, but you must maintain inner peace. You absolutely cannot panic. You must remain stable, no matter what happens. Remember, I'm here for you. Bai Xiaochun waved his hand, his words seemingly carrying a seductive, bewitching tone. Zhao Qianzhao's blood boiled, his emotions surging. The group of divine calculators listened to Bai Xiaochun's logical and insightful words, and after hearing his detailed explanation, their hearts were greatly shaken. They even unconsciously listened attentively, feeling that Bai Xiaochun's words might be of great help to them in the future. Only Song Qiu, inwardly disdainful but conflicted, didn't know whether to listen further or not. Don't get too excited too soon. I haven't finished yet. Bai Xiaochun coughed, and Zhao Qianzhao poured wine for himself and Bai Xiaochun. Bai Xiaochun raised his cup and drank it all, then, after clearing his throat, continued. I just mentioned the Ying Ziju because I wanted you to understand that I, Bai Xiaochun, have been a master of romance for decades. Now I'll explain it in detail. You must know that in matters of love, you need to know yourself and your partner. To make her like you, you must first win over her close friends. You must make them speak well of you at all times. Even if you're not good, they'll still say you're good. Bai Xiaochun's eyes held a look of certainty, making his words even more persuasive. Shen Swansea, beside him, slapped his thigh, his eyes shining brightly. He immediately sat up straight, gazing at Bai Xiaochun with an expression of profound admiration, feeling that Bai Xiaochun was absolutely right. Bai Xiaochun glared at Shen Swansea with a hint of displeasure, and continued, you must understand that many female cultivators lack a sense of security, especially in this cruel cultivation world. Therefore, you must satisfy her sense of security, like a beacon of light in the darkness. This will cause her to unconsciously rely on you. Once you achieve this, you've already taken the first step towards success. Bai Xiaochun spoke calmly, and Zhao Qianzhao was overjoyed and excited upon hearing this. The divine calculator, having forgotten himself, quickly took out a jade slip and inscribed these words onto it. Even though Zhao Qianzhao and his 2 attendants were increasingly frightened as they looked at Bai Xiaochun. The purpose of these 2 points, to put it directly, is to attract her. After you attract her attention, you still have to pretend to be half-faced. You have to give her a sense of mystery. So she advances and you retreat, she retreats and you advance. After several times like that, she will definitely feel like she can't stop. And then, haha, she will fall for it. Bai Xiaochun became more and more excited as he spoke, waving his sleeve. See, it appears that she actively approached you, but in reality, you have achieved your goal of pursuing her. Back then, when I was in the Bloodstream sect, I used this trick to win over Queer S Aunt. Bai Xiaochun said excitedly, pointing at Song Qiu. Song Quest's face darkened, and he suddenly understood why his aunt, who disliked men so much, was so insistent on Bai Xiaochun. I must show my aunt Bai Xiaochun's true face. Song Qiu wanted to leave, but he felt that the methods Bai Xiaochun mentioned would be very beneficial to him in the future, and he couldn't bear to leave. So he found a reason to stay and listened attentively. Zhao Qianzhou's whole body trembled. Seeing Song Quest's expression, he knew that Bai Xiaochun was right, so he trusted Bai Xiaochun to the point of worshipping him as a saint. Speaking of which, you haven't completely won in the game of love yet. There's still great danger, so we need to consolidate our strength a bit. Seeing everyone intimidated by his words, Bai Xiaochun felt even more pleased. Over the past 3 days, he had communicated with Yi Zhang's soul and was also moved by Yi Zhang's words. I understand. Zhao Qianzhou immediately replied excitedly. Consolidation is like cultivation. After breaking through to a new realm, you need to stabilize your state. I understand how to do it. You don't understand. Bai Xiaochun glared at him, immediately retorting. You only understand how to enrich your emotions, but that's wrong. The ultimate level is maintaining a balance of closeness and distance. You must stimulate her emotions. You must make her feel like you could lose her at any moment. Only then will she be completely captivated. You absolutely cannot stay together for too long, because only then can she feel that this love is hard to come by. Only then can she cherish it. Only then can she be steadfastly devoted to you. Remember, the easier something is to obtain, the less it will be cherished. Bai Xiaochun spoke these words, revealing a sense of nostalgia and emotion, as if immersed in some love story, reminiscing about his youth. But in reality, he had heard the last words from Yi Zhang clearly, so he took half an incense stick's worth of time to sort them out in his mind. However, during that half-burnt-to-stick period, Zhao Qianzhou was so impressed by Bai Xiaochun that he bowed his head to the ground. He felt that Bai Xiaochun carried too many old emotional stories. Actually, if it were another time, with Zhao Qianzhou's temperament, he wouldn't easily believe it. But he himself was so fond of Chen Yue-sen that he was completely overwhelmed by Bai Xiaochun's words, following Bai Xiaochun's rhythm entirely. At this moment, he lost his normal judgment. You must give yourself time, pretend that you are slowly accepting her. Bai Xiaochun sighed as if preserving memories in his eyes, whispering these words as if forgetting that he was helping Zhao Qianzhou, but instead immersed in his own memories. Since everything is ready, you can give her great joy, and naturally become her Tao companion. After all the previous processes, she will be filled with both worrying and joy, and will surely be moved. Congratulations, senior brother Zhao, you have succeeded. Bai Xiaochun took a deep breath, seemingly freeing himself from his memories and congratulating Zhao Qianzhou. But I must warn you, senior brother Zhao, feelings are not easy. Love affairs require all kinds of cunning and strategy, so you must not abandon it in the end. Otherwise you will face divine retribution. Bai Xiaochun spoke each word like a sermon, and Zhao Qianzhou's mind was greatly shaken. His gaze towards Bai Xiaochun changed. He took a deep breath, stood up, and bowed to Bai Xiaochun. I, Zhao Qianzhou, swear that if I can achieve a heavenly union with junior sister Yue Shan, she will be my only Tao companion in this life. If I break this oath, may heaven and earth destroy me. Zhao Qianzhou's expression was serious, his eyes filled with caution, and his words were delivered with unwavering determination. Good, it wasn't in vain that I, Bai Xiaochun, passed on this secret to you. Bai Xiaochun nodded happily, his demeanor softening like that of an elder. And you all too. After saying this, Bai Xiaochun looked at Shen Xuanzi and Song Qiu. Shen Xuanzi, having already submitted to Bai Xiaochun, immediately swore an oath. Song Qiu, intimidated by Bai Xiaochun's gaze, almost swore an oath as well, but managed to react in time, coldly snorting without saying anything. As for Zhao Qianzhou's two attendants, they were intimidated by Bai Xiaochun and hastily swore an oath. Bai Xiaochun nodded in satisfaction, refilled his cup, and took a sip. Seeing Zhao Qianzhou's burning gaze, he smiled and said, I've said what I needed to say, senior brother Zhao. First you have to flatter senior sister Yue Shan's friends. That won't work. Senior sister Yue Shan doesn't have many close friends, only two, who went to the savage wilderness many years ago and aren't here. As for her relatives, her father is here. He's my master, and he's very strict, so I can't flatter him. Zhao Tianzhao frowned, deep in thought. Is three-eyed your master? Bai Zikun was startled, thinking of the three-eyed old man named Chen Ziatia, and asked. Zhao Tianzhao quickly coughed, wanting to correct Bai Zhao's way of addressing his master, but since he was asking Bai Zikun for help, he pretended not to hear. Bai Zikun immediately became excited. He felt that if he facilitated the relationship between Zhao Tianzhao and Chen Yueshan, it would be equivalent to having a celestial being as his backing. So he was considering ways to help Zhao Tianzhao. After half a day, Bai Xiaochun's eyes lit up. Then let's change our approach. You just need to attract senior sister Yueshan's attention, and we need to know what kind of man she likes. I don't know, Zhao Tianzhao said with a pained expression. It's all right, I'll take care of everything. Personality can be revealed through clothing. You should follow my instructions. Change your clothes every day and see which one she likes best. Different outfits flashed through Bai Xiaochun's mind. He felt his plan was perfect, so he pulled Zhao Tianzhao closer and whispered in his ear, telling him what clothes to prepare. Zhao Tianzhao's expression changed. He gasped, his eyes widening in shock, his face contorted with bitterness. Do we really have to do this? It absolutely must be like that. Pay attention to her expressions. Ignoring her or frowning shows she dislikes you. If she looks at you a lot and shows she likes you, you must tell me about it, Bai Xiaochun said very seriously. Zhao Tianzhao was conflicted for a long time, and the group of divine calculators were also curious, wondering what clothes Bai Xiaochun had dressed Zhao Tianzhao in that made him so anxious. After half a day, Zhao Tianzhao made up his mind to do whatever it took and immediately nodded in agreement. I'll listen to you. As Zhao Tianzhao left the room, Chen Yue-san's door also opened. Chen Yue-san, dressed the same as yesterday, walked lazily down the corridor. When she came out, she unconsciously looked up and saw Zhao Tianzhao. Zhao Tianzhao's clothes today were not light red, but white, and he wore a scholar's hat on his head. Even his demeanor was different from yesterday. With his refined and scholarly demeanor, radiating an aura of righteousness, and a warm, slightly stiff smile on his face, he appeared much gentler than yesterday. Most notably, Zhao Tianzhao's eyes were filled with deep affection. Without Bai Xiaochun's instruction, Zhao Tianzhao displayed unexpected brilliance. He stood outside the room, looking like a scholar preparing to leave for an examination. Chen Yushin glanced over, their eyes meeting. Chen Yushin was stunned, unconsciously taking a few steps back. She wanted to continue, but feeling strange, she turned back into the room and closed the door. Zhao Tianzhao struggled to control his rapid breathing. He no longer felt the terror he had yesterday. He silently told himself he had to persevere. He took a deep breath and returned to his room. I don't like high-ranking officials, nor do I like scholars. Xiaochun was right. I must change. Early on Tuesday morning, as Chen Yue-san was leaving her room, she deliberately glanced towards Zhao Tianzhao's room and noticed he had also gone out. This time, she saw Zhao Tianzhao wearing full-body armor, carrying a large sword on his back, radiating a powerful aura of killing intent, resembling a heroic general. Chen Yue-san was astonished, as if she had discovered a strange creature. She was no longer as bewildered as she had been the previous 2 days. This time, she was extremely curious and wanted to ask Zhao Tianzhao about it. However, due to her inner strangeness, she remained silent and returned to her room. Brother Zhao, keep going. You're almost there. Didn't you see that senior sister forgot to go up to the deck? This proves you've successfully attracted her attention. Bai Zikun excitedly transmitted the message. Zhao Tianzhao was also in high spirits. He noticed that Chen Yushin's gaze towards him had changed. His excitement and admiration for Bai Xiaochun had grown, so he became even more enthusiastic about changing his clothes. On the 4th day, Chen Yushin hesitated slightly but ultimately left her room as usual, curious to see what Zhao Tianzhao was up to. Upon stepping out, she found Zhao Tianzhao dressed in dazzling attire, transformed into a wealthy magnate. He wore countless spirit pearls and treasures, 30 storage rings on each hand, and even 3 storage bracelets on each arm. His face was filled with arrogance, as if he were the richest man in the world. Chen Yushen's eyes widened. She felt Zhao Jianzhao had gone mad. After watching for a while, Chen Yushen returned to her room. Standing behind the door, she recalled the events of the previous few days, her heart pounding. Zikun, let's end this. Junior sister Yue Shan isn't a vulgar woman. Maybe I won't wear it. Zhao Jianzhao paced around the room listlessly, annoyed. Calm down. We're using a subtle tactic. You're wearing this outfit will create a sensation tomorrow. Don't worry. I've already thought it through for you. Tomorrow morning will be our killer move. Bai Xiaochun replied seriously. Killer move? Zhao Jianzhao's body stiffened. He gasped for breath as he looked in the mirror, his eyes shining. That's right. After observing for the past few days, and drawing on my decades of experience in romance, I, Bai Xiaochun, have seen through senior sister Yue Shan's intentions. Bai Xiaochun laughed heartily, but inwardly he felt weak, sensing that his plan was going a little differently than he had expected. Based on his thinking, perhaps he would gain Chen Yue-san's favor over the past 4 days. But even if that weren't the case, Chen Yue-san would see through his trick. It seems she likes it, but also dislikes it. Bai Xiaochun hesitated for a moment, intending to unleash his ultimate move. A night passed, and Zhao Jianzhao was restless, anxiously waiting for dawn to break. His heart pounded, and he waited for the signal to leave his room. Once in the hallway, Zhao Jianzhao made a firm decision. He took off his clothes. Piece by piece, his garments quickly slipped from his body, revealing more than half of his physique. He then applied some of the medicinal oil Bai Xiaochun had given him. His strong, muscular body stood out against the color of the oil, as if an astonishing power was hidden within him, ready to erupt and annihilate any opponent, especially since Bai Xiaochun had devised his ultimate attack. Zhao Jianzhao's mind was muddled, otherwise he wouldn't have acted this way. But having come this far, he couldn't turn back. He could only grit his teeth, persevere, and place his hope in Bai Xiaochun. He even imitated the postures Bai Xiaochun had taught him. Before long, Chen Yushen's room door opened. She peeked through it just enough to observe what was happening outside. She mustered great courage before opening the door completely. Then, Chen Yushen peeked through Zhao Jianzhao's doorway. Seeing Zhao Jianzhao naked, staring at her and striking unusual poses, Chen Yushen's mind reeled. She was terrified. Zhao, senior brother, what are you doing? After days of being tormented by Zhao Jianzhao, Chen Yushen finally looked at him with a bewildered expression, gathering all her courage to ask. Just a simple question was enough to make Zhao Jianzhao so excited he almost lost control. Fortunately, he remembered to remain calm and composed, following Bai Xiaochun's instructions to say nothing. After maintaining his posture for a while, he tilted his head and gazed intently at Chen Yushen. His burning gaze further accelerated Chen Yushen's heart, causing her cheeks to flush, as if she had just experienced a great crisis. She quickly closed the door. Seeing Chen Yushen blush, Zhao Jianzhao became uncontrollably excited. Xiaochun, I succeeded, haha, you see. She not only asked me a question, but also looked at me several times and blushed shyly. That's more like it. From her expression, I can conclude that senior sister Yushin likes your handsome appearance. Bai Xiaochun slapped his thigh in the room, his heart filled with excitement. He felt his manipulation had made great progress. I didn't expect junior sister Yue Shan to like my current appearance, Zhao Jianzhao said excitedly, pacing back and forth in the room, his eyes shining. Xiaochun is amazing! Ha ha! Zhao Jianzhao was overjoyed. That's right, a master of seduction like me, Bai Xiaochun, is bound to succeed. Bai Xiaochun said proudly, then faked a cough and continued, Don't get too excited too soon. This is just the beginning. Now that you've successfully captured senior sister Yue Shan's attention, we need to dig deeper. You must captivate her, leave a deep impression on her heart. Bai Xiaochun's expression turned slightly fearful as he spoke. What do you want me to do? Zhao Jianzhao nodded, his expression serious. He greatly admired Bai Xiaochun. Bai Xiaochun rubbed his temples, lost in thought. After a long while, he finally looked up, his eyes shining brightly. Brother Zhao, let's do this. This shouldn't drag on too long. Tomorrow, you should know that Sister Yue Shan hasn't been on the deck for several days. Tomorrow, you shouldn't appear at the door of the room. I guess you go up to the deck. Then we'll stand there, finding the place with the strongest waves. You must wear thin clothes. When Sister Yue Shan appears, the waves of the Tongshan Sea will be crashing against you. Your wet clothes will reveal your strong physique. Your image will then be imprinted in Sister Yue Shan's mind. Bai Xiaoqun said seriously. Shen Xuanzi, Songqiu, and Shen Manyao observed Bai Xiaoqun and Zhao Jianzhao with strange expressions. Zhao Jianzhao remained silent for a moment before speaking. Xiaoqun, I'll listen to you. Early Monday morning, Bai Xiaoqun excitedly went up to the deck. In the past few days, he had found the greatest joy of his life, helping Zhao Jianzhao pursue Chen Yue-san. Bai Xiaoqun loved doing things like this. Success gave him a great sense of accomplishment. The group led by Shen Xuanzi also joined in, so out of curiosity, they went to the deck. Early that morning, the Tongshan Sea was turbulent, with yellow seawater constantly lapping against the sides of the ship, splashing water onto the deck. The Tongshan Sea was extremely corrosive, but because the ship was filled with the most powerful geniuses of their generation, they weren't bothered by the seawater. A prodigy like Zhao Tianzhou could endure for a long time. As long as he wasn't completely submerged, even water falling on him wouldn't corrode him. Time passed, and it was now midday. Bai Xiaoqun waited, bored, when he suddenly noticed that the sea at noon was very calm, with no waves or wind, and a cloudless sky. He grew impatient, and just as he was thinking about changing the time, he saw Zhao Tianzhou appear. He smiled at Bai Xiaoqun, then his smile faded, replaced by an icy cold expression. He confidently stepped forward, entering the area usually battered by waves, and stood there, staring intently at the second floor. Bai Xiaoqun wanted to send him a telepathic message, but it was too late. She looked dejected. She had left her room today and, out of habit, glanced towards Zhao Jianzhou's door, but found no one there. After leaving the second floor and returning to the deck, she found Zhao Jianzhou standing at the bow in ordinary clothes. She also noticed his intense gaze directed at her. Time seemed to stop when their eyes met. Bai Xiaoqun now realized that the way Zhao Tianzhou and Chen Yue-san looked at each other was different from before. This is a good opportunity. Bai Xiaoqun's heart trembled. He vaguely felt that missing this opportunity, even if he followed his plan later, would be ineffective. Time and again, the sea remained calm and still, without a single ripple, making Bai Xiaoqun anxious. Not only was he anxious, but Zhao Jianzhou was also impatient. Facing imminent loss, Bai Xiaoqun gritted his teeth, unleashing all his late-stage golden core cultivation, pushing the immortal longevity technique to its limit. His blood surged from his body, condensing into a blood sword. Then his body flew straight towards Zhao Jianzhou. Due to his incredible speed, he was close in an instant. Finally, he condensed the blood sword in midair. Bai Xiaoqun raised his right hand, wielding the blood sword, and slashed forcefully at the sea at the bow of the ship. Monster fish, don't run. After shouting, Bai Xiaoqun's blood sword flashed straight into the sea at the bow of the ship. A loud boom echoed through the space as the blood sword struck the sea with such force that the waves shot up incredibly high. Countless water droplets splashed around, half clinging to Bai Xiaoqun and the other half covering Zhao Jianzhou's body. Zhao Jianzhou's clothes, originally thin, now clung to his body, revealing his strong muscles and perfect physique to everyone on the deck. It was midday, so the weather was beautiful. Zhao Jianzhou's body was bathed in a golden hue, making him incredibly handsome. Bai Xiaoqun was also covered in seawater. Although Bai Xiaoqun's body was frail, his handsome appearance, combined with the golden seawater, created an ethereal and otherworldly aura. Bai Xiaoqun and Zhao Jianzhou's charisma was fatally attractive to female cultivators. Many on the ship stared intently at them. Chen Yushan's heart pounded, and when her phoenix eyes met Zhao Jianzhou's, she blushed. Some others felt a strange sensation observing Bai Xiaoqun. Bai Xiaoqun not only possessed an otherworldly aura, but his late-stage core formation cultivation was outstanding, and his strength was astonishing. Many recalled the battle between Bai Xiaoqun and the statue of Gongsun Water, and their gazes towards Bai Xiaoqun were peculiar. Zhao Tianzhou was agitated, seeing Chen Yushan's gaze. He felt embarrassed. This had never happened before he met Bai Xiaoqun, and now Zhao Tianzhou desperately wanted to thank Bai Xiaoqun. If you see something good, take it. Don't be hasty. Zhao Tianzhou nodded upon hearing Bai Xiaoqun's words. The two quickly departed, their figures disappearing from everyone's sight. From their actions, everyone realized that the relationship between Bai Xiaochun and Zhao Jianzhao was extraordinary. Many people want to get close to senior brother Zhao, but he's so aloof and unapproachable. How did Bai Xiaochun manage that? Moreover, judging by their expressions, senior brother Zhao seems to trust Bai Xiaochun very much while everyone was whispering amongst themselves. Bai Xiaochun pulled Zhao Jianzhao back to his room. After changing clothes, the two sat in the main hall. Zhao Jianzhao was very excited. He felt that the events of the past few days were extremely important. Zikun, I've now confirmed that junior sister Yue Shan has taken notice of me, and quite a bit at that. Tell me, what should I do next? Zhao Jianzhao looked at Bai Zikun sincerely, his eyes filled with anticipation and hope. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything. Bai Zikun laughed proudly. Attraction is just the first step. Congratulations, senior brother Zhao, you've succeeded, but don't be complacent. A good start doesn't guarantee a perfect ending. The road is still long. Are you ready, senior brother Zhao? Bai Zikun asked seriously. Zikun, I'll listen to you. Zhao Jianzhao replied solemnly. Bai Zikun nodded. Do you remember what I said last time about a sense of security? The most important thing now is that you must give senior sister Yue Shan a sense of security. When she's in danger, you must be there. Even if you get hurt, you can't let senior sister Yue Shan get hurt. A sense of security. With Yue Shan's cultivation level and status, there aren't many things on the ship that could threaten her. Zhao Jianzhao thought. Why not? Are you perhaps accustomed to unclean things? Bai Xiaochun, disappointed in his lack of ambition, reminded him. Do you want to sneak into Yue Shan's room and set up a formation, waiting for the unclean thing to appear and trap it within the formation, then bravely step forward, displaying your majestic demeanor and risking your life to protect Yue Shan, thus making her feel safe around you? Setting up a formation isn't difficult, but there's no way to control the timing of the unclean thing's appearance. What if it doesn't appear in Yue Shan's room? Zhao Jianzhao felt the plan was flawed. You're too foolish. As the #1 prodigy, don't you have a trusted confidant? Have your confidant disguise themselves, then you appear and play the hero rescuing the damsel in distress. Bai Xiaochun had a headache. During this time, he had also discovered that Zhao Jianzhao's personality, though seemingly cold and aloof, was actually inflexible and often too rigid in his thinking. Remember this one thing, and always say it at the crucial moment. Junior sister Yue Shan, with me here, nothing can harm you, Bai Xiaochun instructed. Zhao Jianzhao found this repulsive, but after a moment of hesitation, he still trusted Bai Xiaochun. He nodded and took out a jade slip to summon his attendants. Then 7 or 8 attendants appeared in Bai Xiaochun's room. They respectfully bowed to Bai Xiaochun and Zhao Jianzhao, seemingly unsure of what Zhao Jianzhao had summoned them for. Xiaochun, what do you think? Zhao Jianzhao asked. These two junior brothers look familiar. Let's choose them. Bai Xiaochun's gaze scrutinized the 7 or 8 people who had just appeared. They were the 2 cultivators from the Rainbow Void Demon Subduing Hall who had previously offended Bai Xiaochun. Their bodies trembled. They didn't know what they were about to do, but they sensed this wasn't good. As Bai Xiaochun made his decision, Zhao Jianzhao told the others to leave. Zhao Jianzhao looked at the 2 cultivators chosen by Bai Xiaochun with a serious expression. My lifelong affairs depend on you too. The 2 cultivators trembled slightly, their ominous feeling intensifying. They exchanged glances, unable to resist, and nodded in agreement. After Zhao Jianzhao explained what they needed to do, they were dumbfounded. They learned they had to disguise themselves as villains and then be assaulted by Zhao Jianzhao. They inwardly lamented the unpredictability of life. They felt Bai Xiaochun was using this as an excuse for revenge, and as his subordinates, they dared not refuse. Don't worry, it may look fierce when I strike, but it's not serious. Just take this opportunity to escape. Zhao Jianzhao bowed respectfully. With Zhao Jianzhao saying this, the 2 could only grit their teeth and agree. They then glanced at Bai Xiaochun, having considered the matter and resolved not to provoke him. This guy was too vengeful. Bai Xiaochun merely smiled, watching everything unfold, inwardly scoffing. He truly did hold a grudge. He remembered how those 2 had looked down on him, one demanding 1,000,000 contribution points, the other arrogantly saying he would only help after 5 years of seclusion. His hatred at that time was considerable. After making arrangements, the 2 reluctantly departed, and Zhao Jianzhao felt satisfied. Following Bai Xiaochun's words, this matter couldn't be delayed. He would act tonight. Success would propel him a great step forward in his pursuit of Chen Yue-san. It will definitely succeed. Zhao Qianzhou left to prepare. The sky gradually darkened. After returning to the second floor, with his cultivation level, he could silently approach Chen Yue-san's room and set up a series of formations. He genuinely admired Chen Yue-san, and this plan involved formations. He couldn't be careless, so he spared no expense, using special materials to set up a powerful illusory spirit formation. The night was pitch black. The group led by Shen Xuanzi tried to observe but couldn't. After all, it was the second floor, and too many people would be detected. Therefore, tonight's operation involved only Bai Xiaochun and Zhao Qianzhou silently appearing on the second floor. Bai Xiaochun whispered, and Zhao Qianzhou agreed. Without Bai Xiaochun present, he felt restless and uneasy. After positioning Bai Xiaochun in a corner to observe the situation, Zhao Qianzhou even used a magical artifact imbued with the power of heaven and man to help Bai Xiaochun conceal himself. Only after completing this did he breathe a sigh of relief, standing beside Bai Xiaochun, waiting for the moment to act. Time passed, and the two remained silent, simply waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Bai Xiaochun was incredibly nervous, but his nervousness differed from Zhao Qianzhou's. He was hopeful that his arrangements would succeed. The moment to prove my mettle as the love saint Bai Xiaochun has arrived. Bai Xiaochun's eyes gleamed as he muttered to himself. After the incense stick burned down and complete silence fell outside, two figures clad in loose black robes and veiled in mist suddenly appeared, their bodies shrouded in a ghostly aura. These two were Zhao Qianzhou's attendants, their faces hidden beneath their headscarves, contorted with anguish. They advanced slowly, their resolve waning as they rushed toward Chen Yue-san's room. In doing so, they followed Bai Xiaochun's instructions, emitting strange, sharp cries that echoed outside the door. According to Bai Xiaochun's plan, after they screamed, Zhao Qianzhou would burst in, shouting, "Don't you dare harm my junior sister!" As they appeared, screaming in agony, Zhao Qianzhou stood up. His eyes filled with rage, about to yell and charge out. Then, a sudden change occurred. The door to Chen Yue-san's room was suddenly kicked open. Chen Yue-san, like a flash of blue lightning, darted out, her speed creating after images. In an instant, she was close to the two men, her right hand forming a hand seal to unleash a storm, which swept past one of them. The man spat out fresh blood, his body slamming against the boat's wall. Chen Yue-san snorted coldly, then took a step closer to the other man, who panicked and defended himself. A deafening explosion rang out. Bai Zikun's eyes widened, his throat dry with surprise. He saw the cultivator being sent flying, blood gushing from his mouth like a fountain, his body constantly retreating to defend against Chen Yue-san's attack. Ah! Bai Zikun gasped. Zhao Qianzhou was also greatly surprised. Things had deviated from the script Bai Zikun had planned, and he didn't know what to do now. A murderous glint flashed in Chen Yue-san's eyes. Her cultivation was extraordinary. While she appeared indifferent to Zifang's death, she was actually very vigilant. Perhaps Zhao Qianzhou had managed to deceive her, but the two attendants who had just appeared were detected by Chen Yue-san. As they were being chased and killed, the two cultivators were in agonizing pain, their pent-up resentment turning into tears that covered the Tongshan River. They had a strong feeling that if things continued like this, they would be beaten to death. Noticing Chen Yue-san approaching, they removed their headscarves and shouted, "Sister, listen to me, sister, don't hit me." The two pleaded urgently, their eyes involuntarily glancing at Zhao Qianzhou not far away. They had initially said it was acting, but now the fake beating had become real. According to the script, they were supposed to use this opportunity to escape. Who would have thought they would be beaten so badly? Chen Yue-san's eyes flashed with a cold light. She snorted coldly and looked towards Zhao Qianzhou. Zhao Qianzhou broke out in a cold sweat. He panicked and unconsciously glanced at where Bai Zikun was hiding. Bai Zikun was also terrified. He hadn't expected his gentle and shy senior sister Chen Yue-san to have such a powerful side. He was anxious, worried that Chen Yue-san knew he had guided Zhao Qianzhou to seduce her. He wondered if she would be so ashamed and angry that she would beat him up. "Sister, Zhao Qianzhou appeared, wanting to explain, but suddenly a blood-curdling scream echoed from the third floor. This scream was filled with unimaginable terror and despair, shaking the hearts of anyone who heard it. Bai Xiaochun was terrified, Zhao Tianzhou was surprised, and so was Chen Yue-san. The two attendants who had been assaulted were in a state of panic. Before anyone could react, a white figure flew out of the third floor and straight to the second floor. From where Bai Xiaochun and the others were, they could see the figure. Even though they couldn't see clearly, an icy aura enveloped them, even causing the ground to show signs of freezing. As if everyone's souls had been frozen, something unclean. It really appeared tonight. When the white figure appeared, Zhao Tianzhou, being the most powerful cultivator present, reacted the fastest, his demeanor transforming in an instant. He no longer resembled his previous appearance when he encountered Bai Xiaochun. A terrifying killing intent enveloped him. Like a god of slaughter, he charged straight towards the white figure, with Chen Yue-san following closely behind. Loud explosions resounded continuously as Zhao Tianzhou struck like lightning. Countless lightning bolts erupted from all directions, each containing immense power. Even nascent soul cultivators would recoil in fear. These lightning bolts converged and unleashed a deafening roar. After the explosion, Zhao Tianzhou engaged in close combat with the white figure. Bai Xiaochun gasped, now experiencing firsthand the power of Zhao Tianzhou's ability to slay nascent soul cultivators. Brother Zhao is too strong. Bai Xiaochun observed carefully. Zhao Tianzhou looked up to the sky and roared, raising both hands high. Countless lightning bolts appeared and condensed around his hands, forming a lightning bolt more than a meter long. This lightning bolt split into two, one silver and one gold. Zhao Tianzhou used the lightning bolt to attack the white figure. Destroy it for me! Zhao Tianzhou roared, his aura like a rainbow, unprecedentedly powerful. The explosion echoed in all directions, and Bai Xiaochun also marveled at the destructive power of the lightning bolt. Too powerful. Bai Xiaochun's heart was greatly shaken. The two lightning bolts were too dazzling, and Bai Xiaochun was terrified of the destructive power they contained. He couldn't see the white figure clearly, but it wasn't a real entity, just a cluster of condensed light. The white figure twisted and transformed into a hand that struck Zhao Tianzhou. A deafening explosion echoed in all directions, affecting the entire ship. Bai Xiaochun understood Zhao Tianzhou's intention. He clearly wanted to use the explosion to attract everyone's attention and unite them to eliminate the white shadow. Zhao Tianzhou had underestimated the white shadow's strength. After the white shadow transformed into a hand and collided with the lightning, and after the explosion subsided, Zhao Tianzhou spat out fresh blood, the lightning around him shattering continuously. This was the first time Bai Xiaochun had seen lightning shatter. The lightning bolts were broken into countless fragments, spreading throughout the space, the rumbling sound growing louder as they collided with the surrounding walls. Although the white shadow was powerful, Zhao Tianzhou's attack had affected it, its light dimming considerably. It was forced back several meters, and as it retreated, the white shadow spontaneously split into 9 parts, flying towards Zhao Tianzhou. Its purpose was to enter his body, either to possess him or to devour him. At that very moment, a bone-chilling blast of cold air struck the white figure. Seeing Zhao Tianzhou in danger, Chen Yue-san's expression changed. She clenched her right fist and attacked the white figure as it was attacking Zhao Tianzhou, while her left hand formed a hand seal, condensing moonlight around her to create the shape of a full moon. The full moon emitted a strange radiance, and after appearing, Chen Yue-san chanted a spell and pointed it directly at the white figure in front of her. Wherever the full moon passed, the power of time grew stronger, as if the full moon contained endless time. Zhao Tianzhou's eyes were filled with rage. Facing imminent danger, he took a deep breath, and a thunderous roar like a war drum erupted from within him. In his right hand, a powerful yellow lightning ball condensed. Not stopping there, Zhao Tianzhou's two attendants, united by their hatred, flew closer, intending to disrupt the white figure's attack. When everyone else had already attacked, Bai Xiaochun gritted his teeth and made up his mind. He knew that if he didn't act, he would have difficulty facing Zhao Tianzhou and his group. So he shouted and flew out of his hiding place, joining Zhao Tianzhou's ranks in attacking the white shadow. Bai Xiaochun was extremely worried, wondering why the others hadn't appeared yet. In fact, from the moment the white shadow appeared until now, although it seemed slow, only 10 breaths had passed. Upon noticing everyone's appearance, the white shadow split into 9 parts, flying in different directions. 2 parts attacked Zhao Tianzhou's 2 attendants, 2 parts flew towards Chen Yue-san, 2 parts flew towards Bai Xiaochun, and the final 3 parts attacked Zhao Tianzhou. A loud explosion rang out, and two of Zhao Tianzhou's attendants were sent flying by two streams of light. Blood gushed from their mouths like a fountain, their lips turning purple, even their hair and eyelashes turning white. And that wasn't all. What terrified Bai Xiaochun was that Zhao Tianzhou's attendants' eyes were vacant, their aura dimming, as if their souls were about to be extinguished. Chen Yue-sen also noticed this point. Her full moon-like light collided with the two white figures, creating an explosion. Her whole body trembled, the ground beneath her feet froze, and sharp ice spikes shot upwards, forming a wall. She couldn't move forward in a short time, her face pale, and fresh blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. Brother Zhao, be careful. This is a soul attack. Chen Yue-sen hurriedly warned, chanting incantations and pointing them at herself, doing everything she could to prevent her injuries from worsening. Bai Zikun noticed the two white figures approaching him. He chanted incantations with both hands, activating the cold gate cultivation technique to unleash a burst of cold energy around him. He intended to fight cold with cold. A deafening explosion shook the surroundings, causing Bai Xiaochun's body to tremble. His current cultivation level was late golden core, and the icy aura was even more terrifying, freezing even some of the water in the Tangshan River. During his confrontation with the white figure, he felt a chilling coldness unlike anything he had ever perceived, even different from the ice emanating from the statue of Gongsun Wanner. This was a type of icy coldness originating from the soul. It was a soul attack. Bai Xiaochun's expression changed, his body shaking as he felt the white figure's icy aura penetrate his body and head. In this moment of imminent danger, Bai Xiaochun roared, activating the immortal longevity technique and stomping his foot forcefully on the ground. He wasn't using his full strength. He intended to use the immortal forbiddance technique. The target of the immortal forbiddance technique wasn't an outsider, but himself. A creaking sound echoed, and a purple aura enveloped Bai Xiaochun's entire body, blocking the icy aura from attacking his soul. Everything happened so fast that Bai Xiaochun couldn't react in time. He could only rely on instinct to complete everything, including using the immortal forbiddance technique on himself. This was his fighting instinct. During the battle in the Luochen mountain range, Bai Xiaochun discovered that he feared death, so his obsession with living was very strong. And therefore his instincts were stronger than ordinary people. When he activated the immortal forbiddance technique, Bai Xiaochun found that the cold energy trying to penetrate his soul was being blocked. Bai Xiaochun breathed a sigh of relief. When he looked up, he shuddered to see three white figures attacking Zhao Tianzhou like children. They shattered Zhao Tianzhou's lightning and transformed into a white flying sword that pierced Zhao Tianzhou's forehead. Zhao Tianzhou's eyes widened in terror. His body trembled, his legs and body were frozen, and he was now in danger of dying. Bai Xiaochun's third eye opened, and the heaven-penetrating Dharma eye shot out a beam of light that collided with the flying sword. "Stop right there!" Bai Xiaochun roared in anger, a powerful purple aura emanating from him. He used his full late-stage golden core cultivation to block the flying sword in front of Zhao Tianzhou. The slight pause in the flying sword gave Zhao Tianzhou an opportunity. He hadn't been able to dodge earlier, intending to let the flying sword penetrate his forehead and attack his soul, then use another method to counter it. He was confident he could do it, though it was somewhat risky. Now, with Bai Xiaochun's assistance, Zhao Tianzhou didn't hesitate to unleash a golden light to block the flying sword. Thunderstorm! Zhao Tianzhou roared, lightning enveloping him. The white flying sword collapsed, quickly retreating with the other white figures, transforming into a humanoid figure that gazed deeply at Zhao Tianzhou, yet also seemed to be looking at Bai Xiaochun before disappearing. It seemed to come and go as it pleased, moving with utmost naturalness. After the white figure disappeared, Zhao Tianzhou's two attendants repeatedly spat out fresh blood. Because of the penetrating cold, they had to use all their strength to suppress it. Their faces were as pale as those of the dying, and they looked in the direction the white figure had gone, their hearts still filled with fear. They muttered to themselves that they were unlucky. They had been beaten by Chen Yue-sen earlier, and then attacked by something unclean, almost losing their lives in this place. Their bodies trembled. Everything was instigated by Bai Xiaochun. They weren't considering how to take revenge. Instead, they were thinking about how to flatter him. Otherwise, one day Bai Xiaochun might suddenly get the urge to force them to do something similar, and they worried they would die on the ship before even reaching the savage wilderness. Chen Yue-san watched the white figure depart, the sharp thorns around her disappearing. Chen Yuesan adjusted her breathing and then looked at Zhao Jianzhou with concern. Cold sweat dripped from Zhao Jianzhou's forehead. He was breathing heavily. Since entering the mid-stage of the Golden Core, he had rarely encountered opponents who could push him to such a desperate situation. After reaching the great perfection of the Golden Core, he mostly faced nascent soul cultivators, and he had been overly confident. His heart was now filled with apprehension. He could sense that the white figure's strength was no greater than that of a nascent soul cultivator. It only shows how powerful a P-core formation cultivator already is. Ordinary nascent soul cultivators are no match. Hao Tianzhou took a deep breath, his eyes scanning the surroundings. Since the battle began, no one had arrived. In fact, this place had been sealed by the White Shadow. The seal only disappeared when the White Shadow left. Zhao Tianzhou adjusted his breathing. He wanted to explore the surroundings, and Chen Yuesan went with him. Bai Xiaochun wiped the sweat from his forehead. He had just used all his strength to help Zhao Tianzhou, and now, seeing that Zhao Tianzhou wanted to continue chasing the White Shadow, Bai Xiaochun coughed anxiously. Noticing Zhao Tianzhou's inattention, Bai Xiaochun became angry and coughed violently. Fortunately, Zhao Tianzhou wasn't beyond help. Hearing Bai Xiaochun's coughing, he was startled and immediately remembered that his mission wasn't to chase the White Shadow, but to give Chen Yuesan a sense of security. Overwhelmed with gratitude, and remembering how Bai Xiaochun had just rescued him, he now considered Bai Xiaochun a true friend. His mind unsettled, his expression turned serious as he abandoned the pursuit. He turned to Chen Yuesan, raising his right hand to stop her from chasing. "Sister Yuesan, don't pursue. That unclean thing has escaped. We won't find it anytime soon. If we chase, it'll easily wipe us out one by one." Zhao Tianzhou analyzed the situation. "If only my father were here, that unclean thing would surely have been annihilated." Chen Yuesan gritted her teeth, her eyes filled with both anger and fear. Recalling what had just happened, she knew clearly that if Zhao Tianzhou hadn't used his fighting power to stop the White Shadow, her fate would have been no different from Zifang's. Recalling the scene of Zifang's death, Chen Yuesan's heart trembled. "Thank you, senior brother Zhao." Chen Yuesan breathed a sigh of relief, also thanking Zhao Tianzhou. "Junior sister Yuesan, with me here, I absolutely won't let you suffer any harm." Zhao Tianzhou's heart was greatly stirred. He couldn't help but suppress his emotions as he comforted Chen Yuesan, his gaze incredibly serious, following the method Bai Zikun had taught him. It was as if facing a mountain of swords and a sea of fire. In an extremely perilous situation, Zhao Tianzhou would stand up and shield Chen Yuesan from the rain and wind, even if it meant death. His words and expression, combined with the heroic image of Zhao Tianzhou during the great battle with the White Shadow, all his words, gestures, and serious gaze penetrated her heart. It seemed as if Zhao Tianzhou possessed boundless tenderness and unwavering determination, causing Chen Yuesan's heart to pound. Chen Yuesan held her breath, her heart racing like a frightened deer. Zhao Tianzhou's aura, his goofy appearance, his words, and his imposing demeanor, all of it brought back memories of their past together, filling her with an overwhelming sense of security. As time passed, she blushed, lowered her head, her mind blank, unable to think of anything. Zhao Tianzhou's two attendants were breathless, their faces pale, but they quickly recovered. Seeing Chen Yuesan's changing expression, they remembered Bai Zikun's guidance, their hearts filled with awe and admiration for him. "I can't believe it worked. My God, senior sister Chen clearly seems to be falling in love." The two exchanged glances, their hearts greatly stirred. Zhao Tianzhou was so overwhelmed that he was speechless. He struggled to control himself, yet he wanted to look up to the sky and scream. He felt that all his sacrifices had been worthwhile, and his gratitude to Bai Xiaochun reached its peak. His breathing quickened, and he raised his right hand to embrace Chen Yuesan, but after hesitating, he didn't dare. At the same time, he worried about what to do next, so he hurriedly looked at Bai Xiaochun for help. Bai Xiaochun sighed. "Zhao Tianzhou is really stupid. He's at this point and still asking me. What a headache." Bai Xiaochun rubbed his forehead, and at the same time, he thought he had to be a good person to the end. So he pretended to be anxious and worried, rushing to Zhao Tianzhou's side. "Brother Zhao, you're injured." "My God, it's so serious. Brother Zhao, are you all right?" Bai Xiaochun shouted. Chen Yuesan also looked up, her eyes filled with concern. Zhao Tianzhou was astonished and stunned, wanting to say he wasn't injured, but Bai Xiaochun stepped forward to support him, and in doing so, stabbed him in the back with his right hand. Zhao Tianzhou reacted violently, screaming in agony and turning pale. "I'm injured. I'm seriously injured." After saying this, Zhao Tianzhou's body trembled, his face weak, and he looked like he could collapse at any moment. Chen Yushin, still dazed, was horrified upon hearing this. She quickly stepped forward to support Zhao Tianzhou, who, no longer foolish, leaned against Chen Yushin's chest. "Sister Yushin, I'm injured, but I won't leave you. I want to continue protecting you." Chen Yushin blushed, her heart in turmoil, unable to distinguish whether Zhao Tianzhou was truly injured or not. Then she angrily stomped her foot and glared at Bai Xiaochun before helping Zhao Tianzhou back to her room. Zhao Tianzhou excitedly leaned against Chen Yue-san's chest, winking at Bai Xiaochun several times. His admiration for Bai Xiaochun was now as vast as the Tangshan Sea. Bai Xiaochun chuckled, watching Chen Yue-san and Zhao Tianzhou return to their room. His heart was filled with an indescribable sense of triumph and accomplishment. Bai Xiaochun then flicked his sleeve, assuming the air of a superior being. Bai Xiaochun winked, cough cough, "Never mind, let's not talk about it anymore." Bai Xiaochun felt that anything he said would be inappropriate. He had already given Zhao Tianzhou a great gift, so he waved his hand, beckoning Zhao Tianzhou's two attendants to follow him. Seeing Bai Xiaochun beckon, the two attendants dared not disobey and immediately followed him out of the second floor. After Bai Xiaochun entered the third floor, there were quite a few people gathered together. Just then, a blood-curdling scream was heard. Bai Xiaochun squeezed through the crowd to investigate and immediately discovered that the deceased was the 8th-ranked prodigy. His good mood had largely vanished, and he hurriedly went into his room. Bai Xiaochun's mind was restless, feeling extremely uneasy. Death is all on this floor. Moreover, I just intervened to stop the White Shadow's good deed. What if it comes for revenge? What will I do then? Thinking of this, Bai Xiaochun felt a surge of anxiety and terror. After a night of terrifying experiences, because of his fear, he summoned Shen Xuanzi, Song Qiu, and Shen Manyao, and the four of them sat down to chat. After talking all night, in the end, Shen Manyao and Song Qiu simply sat in meditation without saying a word, leaving only Shen Xuanzi and Bai Xiaochun to continuously exchange knowledge. Each time Bai Xiaochun boasted, Shen Xuanzi became excited, and Bai Xiaochun felt incredibly pleased. He immediately imparted some of the talents and stories of the false night burial to Shen Xuanzi, thinking that the death toll would be similar to previous ones, and that it would be a long time before anyone died again. The following night, a blood-curdling scream awakened Bai Xiaochun. "Who's shouting?" Bai Xiaochun exclaimed in shock. Shen Xuanzi, Song Qiu, and Shen Manyao were all terrified. They went to investigate and learned that over 50 prodigies had died on the 4th level, their flesh and blood completely drained. Bai Xiaochun was filled with fear the incident didn't end there. A few days later, the occurrences became even more frequent, with the majority of deaths on the 4th level. For half a month, blood-curdling screams echoed daily. As time passed, the cultivators on the ship were terrified, trembling uncontrollably. Each time a death toll occurred, a cultivator was sucked dry, their body reduced to a withered corpse. Many speculated that the culprit possessed immense power, beyond the capabilities of even a core formation cultivator. With this thought in mind, everyone was filled with fear. Bai Xiaochun anxiously paced back and forth in his room, setting up countless formations, even seeking Zhao Tianzhou's help. Not only him, but those on the 4th floor dared not stay alone. It was only when 3 or 5 people stayed together that the deaths gradually stopped. Although no more deaths occurred in the following days, a dark cloud hung over everyone's hearts. Bai Xiaochun was worried, recalling the battle with the white figure, and felt that the other party would definitely seek revenge. Finally, he realized that more people meant greater strength, so he invited Gongsun Wanner. Even Gongsun Wanner came to his room. Everyone was a disciple of the Reverse River sect, and they all stayed together to overcome this difficult period. Gongsun Wanner, hearing Bai Xiaochun's invitation, had a strange expression on her face and covered her mouth with a slight chuckle. She didn't refuse and followed Bai Xiaochun. In Bai Xiaochun's room, with everyone present, Bai Xiaochun breathed a sigh of relief. With me and Wanner, plus Shen Xuanzi, Song Qiu, and Shen Manyao assisting, even if the White Shadow appears, we're confident we can drive it away. Bai Xiaoqun waited for 7 days, and he found that there were no more deaths. Bai Xiaoqun sighed and wanted to go find Zhao Jianzhou. At this moment, Zhao Jianzhou arrived first, his face rosy and his smile beaming, seemingly very happy. Xiaoqun, I feel that junior sister Yue Shan's perception is different from before, haha. Zhao Tianzhou entered the room and saw Bai Xiaoqun and Gong Xinwaner. Zhao Tianzhou didn't pay much attention to Gong Xinwaner either. After nodding in greeting, he sat down in front of Bai Xiaoqun. Xiaoqun, now that we're ready, what should we do next? Should I go confess to junior sister Chen Yushin? Zhao Tianzhou excitedly asked. The past few days had been the happiest of his life. Every day he went to see Chen Yushin, the two of them sitting together, chatting endlessly. Their conversations in those days were more than all the words he'd spoken in his entire life combined. Bai Xiaoqun coughed, his gaze fixed on Zhao Tianzhou with utmost seriousness. Don't let short-lived happiness cloud your judgment. Senior brother Zhao, I ask you, do you want fleeting beauty or eternal love? Bai Xiaoqun's question was like a blow to Zhao Tianzhou's head. Zhao Tianzhou's heart trembled, his emotions racing. I don't want fleeting beauty. I want eternal love. Zhao Tianzhou answered seriously. Brother Zhao, Bai Xiaoqun's expression softened as he spoke. I know you secretly want to become Dao companions with Sister Yue Shan, but your thinking is wrong. Have you forgotten the Yingzi Ju? You must be stable. I've told you before, first attract her attention, then give her a sense of security. You can't advance, you must retreat. Right now, you must give her a sense of mystery, using retreat as a means of advancement. Eventually, Sister Yue Shan will remember you, unable to stop. So you must minimize contact with her and maintain a distance that's both near and far. Remember one thing, you must maintain a distance, not attack aggressively, but advance slowly and gradually, ultimately giving her great joy. Bai Xiaoqun earnestly advised, but unfortunately, Zhao Tianzhou found it increasingly reasonable, and finally, he gritted his teeth and nodded. Fine, I'll listen to you. After saying that, Zhao Tianzhou took a deep breath and decisively left Bai Xiaoqun's room. For several days afterward, Zhao Tianzhou strictly followed Bai Xiaoqun's instructions, becoming distant from Chen Yushin, sometimes even disappearing for days at a time. Even when they met, he remained indifferent, as if he didn't see her. Occasionally, he would resume his usual relationship with Chen Yushin at Bai Xiaoqun's request. This alternating pattern of distance and intimacy left Chen Yushin confused and then angry. Finally, confusion and anger intertwined, and she felt something was wrong. She wanted to investigate further. Zhao Tianzhou's behavior was completely different from what she knew in the past. So they started proactively making contact, wanting to quickly find out what had happened. They went back and forth 7 or 8 times like that. This process lasted for a month. During this month, deaths continued to occur. At this point, it was still the 4th level, and not all cultivators were together. Some died alone. The events began with them. After the agonizing screams rang out, and countless corpses appeared simultaneously, the hearts of the people on the ship were stirred, fear spreading widely. When the number of deaths exceeded 100, everyone's minds were in unbearable panic. No matter how much they investigated, they couldn't find any clues. At this point, trust between people plummeted, and everyone suspected each other. As the number of deaths increased, what started as 1 death a night turned into 2, then 3. There was even one terrifying incident where 13 people died in a single night. Their bodies completely drained of blood and flesh, turning them into dried corpses. The cultivators on the ship were greatly shocked. Bai Xiaoqun was terrified, utterly frightened. He felt the ship was too terrifying, and his heart was filled with anticipation for the return of the 3-eyed old man if this continues, before we even reach the savage wilderness. Everyone on the ship will be dead. Bai Xiaoqun, filled with fear and anxiety, decisively summoned Zhao Jianzhou's 2 attendants into his room. He felt that having more people meant greater safety. These 2 attendants lived in constant fear and anxiety, worried about the White Shadow's revenge. Their minds had been tormented for days, and their fear was relentless. Hearing Bai Xiaoqun's summons, they were overjoyed, feeling that Bai Xiaoqun was too kind to them. Therefore, without a second thought, they immediately came, even flattering Bai Xiaoqun. Whatever Bai Xiaoqun needed, the 2 of them would excel at fulfilling it. By this time, the boat had traveled halfway, and Zhao Tianzhou could no longer bear it. He felt tormented every day. Although he couldn't control his affection for Chen Yue-san, he pretended to be indifferent and uncaring. Chen Yue-san was extremely persistent, repeatedly asking for answers. Each time, Zhao Tianzhou longed to immediately express his feelings, but remembering Bai Xiaochun's arrangements, he could only restrain himself. One evening, unable to bear it any longer, Zhao Tianzhou went to Bai Xiaochun's room. As soon as he entered, he saw Bai Xiaochun lying there, with two of his attendants beside him, one massaging his shoulders and the other his legs. When Zhao Tianzhou entered, he directly questioned Bai Xiaochun. "Zikun, I can't stand it anymore. I've wanted to express my feelings so many times but held back. Don't even mention her. I myself feel it's very difficult for me and junior sister Yue Shan to have a lasting relationship." Zhao Tianzhou's face was haggard, his eyes filled with anticipation as he looked at Bai Zikun. Seeing Zhao Tianzhou, Bai Zikun was stunned. For the past few days, he had been living in terror, thinking about that white figure every day, wondering how he should resist if he encountered her. It had been so long since he'd seen Zhao Tianzhou that he'd almost forgotten about it. Now, hearing Zhao Tianzhou say this, Bai Zikun was immediately shaken, his heart pounding. He quickly forced a laugh, intending to feign innocence and slap his thigh. "The time has come tomorrow noon, senior brother Zhao. You should confess to senior sister Yue Shan. This is your final blow. From now on, you can take the beauty home and be together with senior sister Yue Shan," Bai Xiaochun said loudly. Zhao Tianzhou was shaken by these words, standing up and pacing back and forth, his face agitated and anxious, sometimes clenching his fists, worried about what would happen. "What if she refuses?" Zhao Tianzhou asked worriedly. "Based on my decades of experience in romance, the reason for failed confessions is insufficient emotional maturity. You and senior sister Yue Shan have matured enough, so your only concern is preparing your words. You can rest assured, Bai Xiaochun is most skilled at this, and I will definitely help you," Bai Xiaochun said, waving his hand. Zhao Tianzhou happily listened to Bai Xiaochun. He always listened to whatever Bai Xiaochun said. Now he breathed a sigh of relief, feeling that with Bai Xiaochun's help, the final hurdle was much easier. "I will help you." Bai Xiaochun chuckled faintly, feigning profound mystery, negotiating with Zhao Tianzhou until late at night. Zhao Tianzhou, satisfied and content, puffed out his chest and left. The next day at noon, the weather was clear and sunny, the sea calm, only the gentle ripples remaining, the golden sea incredibly beautiful. In the distance, the unique seabirds of the Tongshan Sea could be seen soaring, their calls echoing far and wide. Zhao Tianzhou, clad in a green robe, stood at the bow of the ship, his appearance elegant and refined, his eyes profound like a solid mountain. He exuded an awe-inspiring presence, unforgettable to anyone who encountered him. His hands clasped behind his back, his long hair fluttering in the wind, further enhancing his extraordinary bearing. Unnoticed by anyone, Bai Xiaochun's voice reached them. "Wrong, wrong, place your left hand on your waist. Right, right." He raised his head, his chin tilted, looking into the distance. "Don't let your gaze wander. Take a half step forward with your left foot, That posture isn't bad, but your expression is too serious. You want to confess, not scare people. You need to soften up a bit." Bai Xiaochun observed Zhao Tianzhou from a distance, constantly transmitting instructions to adjust his posture. Zhao Tianzhou listened, switched to his left hand, adjusted his chin and expression, feeling uneasy. He was worried about both gains and losses, but because he trusted Bai Xiaochun, he persevered. "Just like that, don't move. The time for your appointment with senior sister Yue Shan is approaching." Bai Xiaochun looked at Zhao Tianzhou excitedly, recalling the events of the past few days. This was the result of his efforts, and today was the time for the final blow. Success! Bai Xiaochun clenched his fists, took a deep breath, and then, with anticipation, observed the second floor. Finally, the door to the second floor room opened, and Chen Yue-san appeared. Chen Yue-san was no different today than on previous days, still wearing her green disciple robe, but she exuded an alluring and captivating aura. Her long hair flowed freely, revealing her fair neck and smooth skin, giving her an extremely pure and sacred presence. Her face was slightly flushed, her mind restless, and her delicate hands clenched tightly within her sleeves, further revealing her nervousness. She walked to the deck, encountering Zhao Tianzhou at the bow. She hesitated but still approached. She's here. Don't turn back. She's coming towards you. Bai Xiaochun excitedly transmitted his voice. Zhao Tianzhao's body trembled slightly. He gritted his teeth, maintaining his composure. His spiritual sense spread out, sensing Chen Yushan approaching. Before long, Chen Yushan was standing beside Zhao Tianzhao. A fragrant breeze wafted by, and Zhao Tianzhao felt his heart pound. "Brother Zhao, what do you want from me?" Chen Yushan asked softly, her delicate hand gripping the corner of her robe. She found Zhao Tianzhao's demeanor strange yet incredibly endearing. Bai Xiaochun watched intently, his eyes slightly fearful. Zhao Tianzhao took a deep breath. He didn't turn around, but resolutely gazed at the distant horizon, recalling Bai Xiaochun's teachings. He raised his right hand, pointing to the sky, and said in a deep voice, "Yushan, look at that vast blue sky. A sky so clear and dust-free represents my feelings for you, untainted by worldly concerns, and unchanging for a lifetime." Zhao Tianzhao spoke in a low voice, his words stirring the young girlish heart of Chen Yue-san, who unconsciously looked up at the sky, seeing everything going smoothly. Bai Xiaochun praised Zhao Tianzhao for doing a perfect job, feeling that senior brother Zhao had understood everything and Bai Xiaochun couldn't find anything to criticize. "These are the words I spent the whole day thinking about." Bai Xiaochun was feeling smug when Chen Yushan looked up at the clear blue sky, and suddenly, boom! A bolt of lightning appeared in the sky. Whether it was a coincidence or not, the sky changed erratically. In an instant, dark clouds gathered. Bai Xiaochun noticed that the sky, which was previously a deep blue and spotless, had turned pitch black. Bai Xiaochun's mouth dropped open, Zhao Tianzhao's eyes widened in speechlessness, and Chen Yushan was bewildered. What is this? Bai Xiaochun was terrified. He took a deep breath, feeling something was wrong. Zhao Tianzhao remained silent, and Chen Yushan didn't know what to say, seemingly a little embarrassed. After a long pause, Zhao Tianzhao gritted his teeth, determined to continue. Even in bad weather, he had to complete the great undertaking of his life. "Yushan," Zhao Tianzhao pointed to the sea and said, "Look at that calm sea. It's like my heart. After having you, we will share both glory and shame. I will not be moved by any other worldly desires. My heart is as calm as the unruffled sea before me." As Zhao Tianzhao said these words, Chen Yushan trembled, seemingly deeply moved. Her eyes followed the direction Zhao Tianzhao was pointing, and suddenly, a fierce thunderstorm erupted, dark clouds gathered, and rain poured down. The sea became turbulent, with huge waves crashing against the sides of the boat, causing it to rock violently. Bai Xiaochun broke out in a cold sweat. He huddled in a corner, pondering how bizarre everything was, as if even heaven itself was against Zhao Tianzhao. Could it be that I arranged the match wrongly? Bai Xiaochun's heart turned cold. While he was racking his brains, Zhao Tianzhao was on the verge of tears. He felt as if the entire world was against him. Whatever he said had the opposite effect. Just as he didn't know what to say, Chen Yushan beside him chuckled. She was beautiful, and even more so when she smiled. Her eyes were like full moons, and her delicate fingers instinctively grasped Zhao Tianzhao's hand, her gaze filled with deep affection. Zhao Tianzhao's body trembled. He looked back at Chen Yushan, their eyes meeting in that moment, their gazes becoming eternal. Chen Yushan had been fond of Zhao Tianzhao ever since her father took him as a disciple. She had liked this simple yet fierce senior brother before her. She even took the initiative to approach him, but unfortunately, Zhao Tianzhao didn't show much emotion. From childhood to adulthood, he didn't cultivate but went on trials. As time passed, Chen Yue-san buried this feeling deep in her heart, occasionally reminiscing and sighing. Until she boarded the warship a few months ago, when she stepped out of her room and saw Zhao Tianzhao wearing a large red robe, she was so surprised she couldn't speak. Everything that happened afterward felt like a dream. Bai Xiaochun sighed, looking at Zhao Tianzhao and Chen Yue-san. He felt that even if he had made a mistake in arranging their marriage, it wasn't a big deal. He chuckled, feeling like a love saint, tilting his chin up, looking like a lonely, invincible master. Bai Xiaochun wanted to praise himself, when suddenly, thunder roared in the distance, and several figures flew out from the clouds, appearing on the warship. The leader was the three-eyed old man. The celestial being has returned. Father, Master. Zhao Tianzhao and Chen Yushan retreated a few steps, feeling uneasy as if they had been caught red-handed in a wrongdoing. The three-eyed old man, Chen Xiaoshan, roared, his face grim as he glared at Zhao Tianzhou. The five nascent soul cultivators following behind him looked weary, their faces displaying a strange, almost imperceptible smile, their gazes fixed on Zhao Tianzhou and Chen Yushan. Their expressions and Chen Xiaoshan's gaze made it clear to Zhao Tianzhou and Chen Yushan that their recent confession had likely been overheard. Furthermore, the recent changes in the sky and sea were almost certainly related to Chen Xiaoshan. Bai Xiaochun saw everything. His body felt cold. He had a vague feeling of unease and wanted to retreat but realized that wouldn't be right, so he tilted his head to the side, pretending to be an innocent observer, and at the same time quietly took out a small bottle of spiritual nectar and took a sip. Zhao Tianzhou was nervous. He feared his master the most. Now, besides nervousness, he also felt embarrassed. Chen Yushan was different. She still held Zhao Tianzhou's hand tightly and looked up at her father, not giving an inch. Zhao Tianzhou, you're too outstanding. Chen Xiaoshan sighed helplessly. He glared at Zhao Tianzhou. Then his gaze fell on where Bai Xiaochun was hiding. This gaze was as sharp as a knife. Bai Xiaochun felt a chill run down his spine. His eyes darted around, turning bloodshot, and his steps faltered. Good wine. He staggered forward, and after reaching the corner to avoid Chen Xiaoshan's gaze, he wanted to leave immediately. Chen Xiaoshan snorted, ignoring Bai Xiaochun, and turned around, taking 5 nascent soul cultivators with him as he flew into the first floor. Zhao Tianzhou and Chen Yuesen exchanged glances. Zhao Tianzhou gritted his teeth and went to see his master. He wanted to explain the situation clearly and prevent his master from punishing Yuesen and Bai Xiaochun. Bai Xiaochun escaped, panting as he returned to his room. If I had known this, I should have confessed yesterday. Why is it such a coincidence that three-eyed old man keeps returning? If he finds out I helped Zhao Tianzhou plot against his daughter, I'll be in big trouble. The more Bai Xiaochun thought about it, the more miserable he felt. There was nothing he could do now, only sigh and consider how to respond. After waiting a few days, Bai Xiaochun didn't encounter Zhao Tianzhou, nor did he see Chen Xiaoshan causing him any trouble. Bai Xiaochun felt a little relieved, but soon after, Chen Xiaoshan issued an order. Disciples remain in their rooms. No wandering around is permitted. Wait for me to investigate. A majestic voice, tinged with anger, echoed throughout the warship. No one dared disobey. Song Qiu and his group quickly left Bai Xiaochun's room and returned to their respective areas. Afterward, Chen Xiaoshan, along with 5 nascent soul cultivators, investigated each person individually. Clearly aware that many cultivators had died while they were away, they needed to take countermeasures. This investigation was thorough. Even the disciples' rankings were questioned by Chen Xiaoshan. Now it was Bai Xiaochun's turn. Bai Xiaochun nervously walked to the first floor, where the three-eyed old men and the 5 nascent soul cultivators looked at him. Disciple Bai Xiaochun, greetings to all seniors. You are Bai Xiaochun. Chen Xiaoshan sat in the center, his gaze fixed on Bai Xiaochun. Bai Xiaochun nodded nervously, his gaze also meeting that of the three-eyed old man. You're quite capable. Chen Xiaoshan scrutinized Bai Xiaochun, then said this one sentence before falling silent. He closed his eyes, and the 5 nascent soul cultivators began questioning him. 2 of them had eyes like lightning, seemingly capable of detecting falsehood. Bai Xiaochun answered each question for half a day before finally leaving, cold sweat dripping from his forehead. The three-eyed old man said, I'm capable. Was he praising me or harming me? I only facilitated the lifelong happiness between his disciple and his daughter. What if he makes things difficult for me? Bai Xiaochun felt something was wrong, but after thinking for a long time without finding a solution, he stopped thinking about it. This investigation lasted for half a month, and all the disciples were investigated. It was unclear what results Chen Xiaoshan had obtained. Even after carefully observing the corpses, he couldn't draw any conclusions. Fortunately, when Chen Xiaoshan returned, the deaths were no longer happening. 2 months passed, during which Bai Xiaochun hadn't seen Zhao Tianzhou and Chen Yushan, nor did he know how they were doing. By this time, the warship had been at sea for 6 months, and land was visible on the horizon. Only then did Bai Xiaochun see Zhao Tianzhou and Chen Yushan again. After not seeing them for several months, Zhao Tianzhou's cultivation had improved somewhat. His eyes shone brightly as he walked alongside Chen Yushan, and their auras were subtly stronger, seemingly having obtained items that would allow them to enter the nascent soul realm. Many envied them upon seeing this, and it wasn't difficult to guess that Chen Xiaoshan had gained something upon his return, and his disciple and daughter would surely have benefited greatly. Bai Xiaochun felt sore. While walking on the deck, he saw Zhao Tianzhou. Zhao Tianzhou also saw Bai Xiaochun, and his spirits were lifted. Zhao Tianzhou quickly pulled Bai Xiaochun to a secluded corner and slipped a small bottle into his hand. "Your sister-in-law and I saved some silverfish blood. After you return to your room, you should swallow it. It will help increase your cultivation." Bai Xiaochun was invigorated by this. He remembered Chen Xiaoshan searching for the silver dragon, and now with this jade bottle, he knew that Zhao Tianzhou still trusted him as before. Calling her sister-in-law so quickly, does she know? Bai Xiaochun said with a smile, inwardly breathing a sigh of relief, knowing that nothing was wrong. And perhaps the three-eyed old man wouldn't cause him any trouble. "I know. Your sister-in-law asked me to thank you." Zhao Tianzhou was embarrassed, quickly cleared his throat, and seriously patted Bai Xiaochun on the shoulder. "Zikun, you should cultivate properly. I've noticed you've been neglecting your cultivation lately, which isn't right. In a few days, we'll reach the shore, and your own combat strength is the foundation for establishing yourself there." Zhao Tianzhou pulled Bai Xiaochun aside, not caring if others noticed their closeness, and whispered, "The Tongshan continent uses the Tongshan Sea as its center, branching into 4 major rivers. These rivers are like tree roots. Spiritual energy exists within their boundaries. Because the Tongshan continent is so vast, the Tongshan River can't easily reach every corner, so there are large areas without spiritual energy, the Manhuang wildlands. The savage wilderness isn't just on the periphery. At the end of 2 major river branches, there's an area completely devoid of spiritual energy, which is why the Great Wall exists there." Bai Xiaochun's expression was serious. He had heard about the Great Wall many times, even inquiring about it from Chen Manyao, and knew it was extremely important to the Starry Sky Dao extreme sect. Now, hearing Zhao Tianzhou's introduction, regardless of whether he had heard of it before or not, he listened attentively, as these matters were related to his 10 years of training afterward. The Great Wall acts as a protective circle, safeguarding the Tongshan lineage from east, west, south, and north, allowing it to flourish. You can call this circle the Great Wall. Beyond the Great Wall lies the true savage wilderness, a barren wasteland plagued by war year-round. Besides the endless vengeful spirits, there are also the native soul warriors of the savage wilderness. Soul warriors? Bai Xiaochun asked, remembering the power behind Chen Manyao. "I don't understand much either. I only know that these soul warriors are like giants. Their cultivation methods are similar to cultivators. Most of them practice body refinement. They are barbaric and ferocious, and if they capture a disciple of the Starry Sky Dao extreme sect, they will devour them alive immediately." Zhao Tianzhou said this, and Bai Xiaochun gasped, "Devouring them alive." Bai Xiaochun's heart trembled violently. In the barren wilderness, soul warriors absorb soul power to cultivate, and they crave spiritual energy to the extreme. Once a cultivator enters and is captured by them, they naturally devour their flesh and blood to absorb the spiritual energy within. The two sides have hated each other since ancient times, and these barbaric natives want to enter the Tongshan Sea area to seize the spiritual energy. We cannot let them achieve their goal. Zhao Tianzhou explained for a while. Bai Xiaochun's face turned pale. He was extremely surprised, but didn't think much of it. The reason the Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect built 3 branch sects here was to prevent vengeful spirits and soul warriors from entering the Tongshan River. A few days later, when we reach the shore, you will see the first city, which is the East Sea City. It has the densest spiritual energy and is the safest of all the boundary cities, Zhao Tianzhou explained in detail, worried that Bai Xiaochun didn't know the specifics. From the East Sea City, going further forward, the spiritual energy gradually diminishes and weakens. There, a second city exists, called the Boundary City. This city is heavily guarded and serves as the second barrier against the barbarian wilderness, and also as a reserve line of defense. Bai Xiaochun suppressed his fear at hearing about the barbarian wilderness devouring cultivators alive. He listened attentively, because he didn't understand these things. From the Boundary City, going further forward, there will be no more spiritual energy. That is the third city of the Great Wall. The third city is also called the Great Wall. That's the area guarded by the most terrifying iron blood cultivators of the Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect. Each of them is a killing machine. Even I wouldn't dare provoke them. When mentioning the third fortress, Zhao Tianzhao's eyes held a mixture of reverence, respect, and longing. These people form a legion, called the Iron Blood Legion. They are incredibly powerful. They are the true guardians of the Great Wall, and they wage war against the savage soul warriors year-round, with an extremely high death rate. I heard there are 5 legions there, and each of their centurions holds a prestigious position upon returning to their sect, because behind them is the Iron Blood sect. The Iron Blood sect overwhelms the heavenly humans. They are the only sect personally controlled by a half-god ancestor. Bai Xiaochun nodded upon hearing this, feeling the name Iron Blood Legion was brimming with killing intent. My goal is to go to the savage wilderness for training. Join one of the Iron Blood Legions, achieve many glorious military feats, and strive to become a heavenly commander. Zhao Tianzhao took a deep breath, speaking with great determination. Huh? Bai Xiaochun looked at Zhao Tianzhao in surprise, feeling that the other party wanted to go to his death. Only at the Great Wall are there celestial beings stationed there. This time, my master is replacing Senior Zhao. My master will be stationed there for 100 years, preventing external enemies from invading. Zhao Tianzhao patted Bai Xiaochun's shoulder, his eyes gentle. He was older than Bai Xiaochun, and after interacting with him for several days, he truly considered Bai Xiaochun his friend. People like him had few friends, or even very few words. Once he approved of someone, they would be brothers for life. Zhao Tianzhao instructed, the savage wilderness has souls. All the lives that perish on the Tongshan continent are gathered there. As long as their souls aren't completely annihilated, and as long as they aren't preserved by someone using secret techniques, they will return to the underworld river in the savage wilderness. Therefore, the savage wilderness, to some extent, represents the netherworld. He continued, because the savage wilderness has accumulated souls over countless years. There are many undiscovered heavenly human souls. Although heavenly human souls are rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns, their number is extremely limited. According to my master's estimation, the number of heavenly human souls in the entire savage wilderness today doesn't exceed 2 hands. After all, those who achieve the heavenly nascent soul are even rarer than heavenly humans, only a heavenly venerate. Zhao Tianzhao spoke in a low voice. His words were top secret and couldn't be revealed to outsiders. He was also worried that Bai Xiaochun was pursuing an illusory and vague goal, so he mentioned these things. Upon hearing this, Bai Xiaochun was shocked. He had once considered how many heavenly human souls existed in the savage wilderness, and he possessed 2. He even dreamed of reaching the legendary heavenly nascent soul. But today, hearing Zhao Tianzhao's words, Bai Xiaochun realized that his goal was difficult to achieve. Even the 2 heavenly human souls in his storage bag were worth far more than he understood. He remembered that these 2 heavenly human souls were given to him by the Han sect ancestor and Du Lingfei. Therefore, you shouldn't pursue the vague heavenly nascent soul. It's just a pipe dream. You should set your sights on heavenly beast souls. Although heavenly beast souls are rare, you only encounter a few in 100 years. My master once estimated that there are no more than 50 heavenly beast souls in the savage wilderness, though he didn't know the exact number. Zhao Tianzhao gave some instructions, saying what he had said, and then took his leave. Bai Xiaochun stood there, watching the continent get closer and closer. 10 years I have to endure. Bai Xiaochun sighed. 3 days passed, and when the warship approached the coast, at noon today, all the cultivators simultaneously went up to the deck to look into the distance. They could see an astonishingly large city lying there, a green city built beside the coast, the entire coastline surrounded by city walls. The power of the formation was immense and powerful. Even shimmering runes were hidden among the city walls, and many cultivators could be seen guarding and looking towards them. The 2 sides looked at each other. The speed of the warship gradually slowed down, and after an hour, they reached the shore, and the people on both sides could see each other clearly. Suddenly, the warship shook violently. The ship docked about 10 miles from the shore. 8 nascent soul cultivators flew out from the city, and all the core formation cultivators appeared to welcome Chen Xiaoshen. Greetings, Senior Chen. We welcome Senior Chen. The voices boomed like thunder. Chen Xiaoshen flew out, accompanied by 5 nascent soul cultivators, nodding in return before flying away alone. These people said nothing, exchanging pleasantries. including Bai Xiaojun and several hundred other prodigies from the Starry Sky Dao ranking. They flew out, crossing the 10-mile Tongshan Sea and entering Donghai City. Along the way, they encountered many core formation cultivators from Donghai City. These cultivators sized up the prodigies from the Starry Sky Dao ranking, their eyes filled with undisguised contempt. In the eyes of these seasoned veterans, the prodigies were nothing more than newcomers. Bai Xiaojun stood among the crowd, observing the cultivators of the East Sea City's core formation stage. He noticed that although they only possessed early core formation cultivation, they exuded a powerful killing intent, indicating they had killed many. Bai Xiaojun also saw a deep crimson aura in their eyes. He had heard people talk about this crimson aura. The more vengeful spirits they annihilated in the savage wilderness, the clearer it became. It seemed to have a pattern of transformation, yet it was harmless, even generating intimidating force. When everyone disembarked and entered East Sea City, no one paid attention to the group of geniuses from the Starry Sky Dao ranking. Only a core formation great perfection cultivator from East Sea City handed out tokens to everyone. Welcome to the branch sect. These tokens are your only proof. You cannot lose them. Those without tokens who enter from the savage wilderness will not be allowed to enter the city walls. Please be careful. There are no specific arrangements for you either. You are participating in a trial. Within this 10-year period, you must enter the savage wilderness at least 3 times. Upon completing the 10-year period, you will be denied entry back to your sect. In short, you must manage yourselves well. I'll remind you of one thing. Staying in East Sea City for 1 day will increase your trial time by 1 month. After you leave East Sea City, you must learn to control your spiritual power. The Great Perfection Core Formation Cultivator from East Sea City reminded everyone of the things to pay attention to before leaving. Bai Xiaojun sighed. He looked at the unfamiliar East Sea City before him. He had previously intended to stay here for 10 years without going to the Great Wall. Everyone looked at each other. They were all prodigies on the Starry Sky Dao ranking, and now that they were in this unfamiliar place, their reactions varied, but most immediately dispersed, each finding their own way out. Bai Xiaojun took a deep breath, his expression serious. This was a branch of the Starry Sky Dao Extreme Sect, also located within the Great Wall, completely different from the eastern branch of the Tongshan River. While in the eastern branch of the Tongshan River, he felt the distance to the Reverse River sect was great, but not insurmountable. However, here, the environment was unfamiliar, and he didn't know many people. His familiar surroundings had changed. The stranger the place, the more we must stick together. Bai Xiaojun looked at Songqiu and the others seriously, his voice low, a powerful aura now emanating from him. Songqiu, Shen Xuanzi, Chen Manyao, you are my protectors. Bai Xiaojun, now is the time to show your worth. Bai Xiaojun flicked his sleeve, his eyes gleaming. Normally, I'm the one protecting you, whether in the Void City or the Void Domain, on the warship. Now, it's your turn to protect me. Bai Xiaojun was contemplating his plan when, before he could finish, Chen Manyao cleared her throat. Xiaojun, I have to go. Ah. Bai Xiaojun looked at Chen Manyao in surprise. It's not that I don't want to stay and help you, but you understand the reason. I have to go home. Chen Manyao looked deeply at Bai Xiaojun, her eyes filled with reluctance and a special emotion. After a moment, she bowed to him. If fate allows, we will meet again. After saying this, she turned and left, heading straight out of the East Sea City. Bai Xiaojun remained silent. Chen Manyao's sudden departure was not unexpected. Her home was beyond the city walls. She had been at the Reverse River sect since she first joined, and when she asked to follow him, she had said her purpose was to return home. Bai Xiaojun sighed. He looked at Songqiu and Shen Xuanzi. When he was about to explain his plan, Songqiu snorted coldly. He looked at East Sea City, then at the vast expanse of land outside, his gaze filled with longing. This is the place that suits me. I, Songqiu, want to live in an environment full of danger, full of slaughter. Only through life and death trials can I truly grow stronger. Only then will I have the chance to overpower Bai Xiaojun. Bai Xiaojun, I was inferior to him in the Bloodstream sect, the Reverse River sect, and the Starry Sky Dao Extreme sect, even on the warship. Now I must surpass him. This is my last chance, and I will definitely succeed. Song Quest's heart swelled with ambition, his expression resolute. Without even glancing at Bai Xiaochun, he transformed into a beam of light and flew away. Queer, Bai Xiaochun's eyes widened, his body trembling. He felt this scene was incredibly familiar. He nervously looked at Shen Xuanzi. Shen Xuanzi, you, young ancestor, it's not that I want to leave, but the Guardian Hall has already made arrangements. We will meet again in 10 years. Shen Xuanzi was embarrassed. Although he wasn't wrong, the Guardian Hall had already made other arrangements. Shen Xuanzi blinked a few times, clasped his hands, and left. Soon, only Gongsun Warner remained beside Bai Xiaochun. She looked at Bai Xiaochun, smiled faintly, and flew away. Bai Xiaochun's jaw dropped. He looked around for a moment. The vast East Sea city felt incredibly unfamiliar, and he felt a sense of loneliness. Bai Xiaochun was furious. He remembered when they first arrived at the void city of the Starry Sky Dao Extreme Sect, and how Sun Qiu and his group had abandoned him. You guys are something, aren't you? If you have the guts, don't come back looking for me later. Bai Xiaochun fumed, his heart filled with frustration and a burning fighting spirit. I, Bai Xiaochun, will live a carefree life. Then you'll understand that abandoning me was the biggest mistake of your lives. Bai Xiaochun was truly enraged. He was angry that these people hadn't shown any signs of fear and hadn't given him any time to prepare. He thought that after what happened last time, they, as his protectors, wouldn't abandon him. Eat me, drink me, use me, just you wait. Bai Xiaochun gritted his teeth and looked around, considering where to go. Suddenly, 5 or 6 people flew overhead in the distance. They seemed to have spotted Bai Xiaochun alone and changed direction, flying closer to him. Xiaochun! Zhao Qianzhao's voice rang out from among the 5 or 6 people. Bai Xiaochun looked up and saw Zhao Qianzhao and Chen Yushan staring at him. Besides them, there were 2 men and 2 women. The 2 men were Zhao Qianzhao's attendants, and they were wary of Bai Xiaochun's abilities. Bai Xiaochun didn't recognize the 2 women. He remembered Zhao Qianzhao introducing Chen Yushan, and he felt they were most likely Chen Yushan's close friends from years ago who had been transferred to East Sea City. Brother Zhao, Bai Xiaochun called out. Why are you standing alone? You seem all right. Are you? Will you come with us? Let's look after each other. I intend to observe this area, and after getting familiar with the surroundings, we'll head to the Great Wall. Zhao Qianzhao laughed heartily as he flew over and patted Bai Xiaochun on the shoulder. I've already driven away the Dao protecting group. They have their own opportunities. I can't interfere with their path. As for me, the world is vast, and I have my own way. Only by experiencing the immensity of heaven and earth myself can I truly embrace the heavenly Dao. Bai Xiaochun chuckled softly. He didn't want Zhao Qianzhao and the others to know he'd been abandoned, so he boasted shamelessly. Chen Yushan followed Zhao Qianzhao, smiling as she stood there. She had been angry with Bai Xiaochun earlier, clearly remembering the words Bai Xiaochun had taught Zhao Qianzhao to say to her. His 2 attendants respectfully bowed to him. They dared not offend Bai Xiaochun. Chen Yushan's 2 close friends curiously sized up Bai Xiaochun. Junior brother Bai, we're leaving. Senior brother Zhao was worried about you, so he came back to check on you. We also intended to travel, and it's safer with more people. You've helped us so much. Let's go together. Chen Yuisen smiled, her words very pleasant to the ear. Bai Xiaochun felt very relieved after hearing this. Zhao Qianzhao also smiled, not arguing with Bai Xiaochun. It seemed Bai Xiaochun was trying every way to avoid going with them, but finally reluctantly agreed. Everyone transformed into streaks of light and flew out of Donghai City, heading towards the Great Wall. As soon as they left Donghai City, Bai Xiaochun felt that the spiritual energy was fine. In fact, this place was close to Tongshan Sea, so the spiritual energy was very good. Bai Xiaochun was most deeply impressed by the ground outside the city walls. The mud here was a dark purple color, and he felt a sense of pressure, as if too much fresh blood had mixed in, giving off a gloomy feeling. In some areas, Bai Xiaochun even saw deep pits, and especially when passing by some lakes, he noticed the lake water was black. I once heard my father say that since the founding of the Starry Sky Dao Extreme Sect, the Great Wall was breached once. That time, many barbarian tribesmen slaughtered people here, so blood flowed like a river. Chen Yuisen said, looking at the dark purple ground. Bai Xiaochun gasped, feeling very uneasy. He noticed that the ground here was different from other places, and the plants were extremely bizarre. For example, a giant tree 7 or 8 meters tall had no leaves or branches, but instead a human head grew out of it, its eyes emitting a sinister, cold light. Any small animal that passed by was devoured by it. A few willow trees with black branches and leaves looked no different from ordinary willow trees. Zhao Tianzhou was terrified upon discovering them, and he shouted, "Take a detour. These are blood soul egg insects. Once they touch a person, they will automatically enter the body and devour their essence, blood, and soul. Only the formations in the city can stop them. We can't shake them." Bai Xiaochun opened his third eye to observe, and he discovered that these were not willow trees, but swarms of extremely bizarre insects. Everyone's minds were shaken, and they immediately dodged to another place. Even so, it still took many days to get through the insect-infested area. Bai Xiaochun was terrified while walking on that path. His scalp tingled. He had seen a flock of foul-smelling, ferocious skeletal birds in the sky, attacking them. Suddenly, a crack appeared in the ground, generating an immense gravitational pull that devoured more than half of the skeletal birds. After the crack closed, a cracking sound could be heard. Bai Xiaochun's heart pounded, his face pale. "This place is still within the Great Wall," Bai Xiaochun sighed repeatedly. His senses on the way here were vastly different. If it's like this inside the Great Wall, what will it be like outside? Bai Xiaochun didn't want to know the answer. He and Zhao Tianzhou's group had flown for a long time, using 3 teleportation arrays along the way to cross the river and slowly reach the second city. This place was called Boundary City. They had encountered many dangers along the way, avoiding as many as possible, and hadn't really faced any real danger. After all, this place was still within the Great Wall, within the area of Boundary City and East Sea City, so safety was much more assured. On the way here, Bai Xiaochun encountered quite a few cultivators. Most of them traveled in groups of 5 or 3, with very few alone. Each of them had a cold expression and an extremely intense vigilance. Upon seeing Bai Xiaochun and his group from afar, most avoided them. Their cold demeanor also carried a hint of weariness, which Bai Xiaochun and Zhao Tianzhou noticed. Bai Xiaochun felt a little apprehensive. The danger level here is much higher than in the previous areas, Bai Xiaochun thought, terrified. Continuing on, they would approach the Boundary City, and he felt an even greater sense of danger. As time passed, the closer they got to the Boundary City, the more Bai Xiaochun felt the ground turning black. The vegetation becoming bizarre, even the birds and beasts in this land looked increasingly strange and dark. Aside from these things, Bai Xiaochun's most intuitive feeling was the spiritual energy. On the way here, he felt the concentration of spiritual energy gradually decreasing. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth was now thin and sparse. Zhao Tianzhou found it difficult to adapt, but Bai Xiaochun was somewhat better off since he came from the lower reaches of the cultivation world, where the spiritual energy wasn't much better than here. Those accustomed to the dense spiritual energy of the starry sky Dao realm would find it very uncomfortable. But Bai Xiaochun felt nothing to worry about, and his mood improved somewhat. After a few more days, everyone finally saw the second city, the Boundary City. Unlike the East Sea City, the Boundary City was much larger and more orderly. Its walls were constructed from black stone blocks, and dark energy flickered on them. Numerous figures moved about on the walls. An enormous magical artifact hovered in the sky. Such artifacts could be seen everywhere within the Boundary City, their bricks and stones covered in markings. The entire city merged together to form an incredibly vast formation. Although the formation wasn't fully activated, even a partial opening covered a radius of tens of thousands of miles, leaving only a small area for entry and exit, the city gate. Once the city wall fell, this place would become another city. Within the city were numerous cultivators, and all kinds of materials and resources were abundant. The Boundary City was a repository of strategic supplies, as it could become a battlefield at any moment. It was currently twilight, and from a distance, the Boundary City resembled a ferocious beast lurking beneath the earth. Besides the chilling aura, everyone felt as if they were being stared at by a natural enemy. Anyone approaching could sense the terrifying killing intent. Ahead is the Boundary City. We'll rest here for a while, then prepare for the second leg of our journey. The next leg will be extremely dangerous, so everyone should prepare themselves mentally. Approaching the Boundary City, Zhao Tianzhou gave a stern warning. Chen Yuisen and the others also became serious. while Bai Xiaoqun blinked several times, inwardly lamenting his predicament. The ground surrounding the boundary city still bore many skeletons, their age unknown, and under the setting sun, they exuded an air of desolation. Bai Xiaoqun's gaze swept around, and he noticed that the skeletons here were unusual. These skeletons didn't resemble those of ferocious beasts. They were somewhat human-like, only much thicker and larger. They weren't ordinary human skeletons, but rather giant-like ones. The bones on the ground were incredibly tough. Besides the giant skeletons, there were also human skeletons on the surface. Bai Xiaoqun's heart was greatly shaken. Could these bones belong to the barbarian tribes? Bai Xiaoqun was assessing the situation, and Zhao Tianzhao, also observing the remains, spoke up. The Great Wall was once breached, and the boundary city also experienced war. Although it was a long time ago, everything here has been preserved, primarily to let future generations know the brutality of war. Besides pursuing our own path, we cultivators must also protect our sect and our world. We absolutely will not allow those barbarian tribesmen to set foot in the Tongshan Sea. A resolute expression appeared in Zhao Tianzhao's eyes. Chen Yue-san, beside him, looked at Zhao Tianzhao, her phoenix eyes reflecting a similar expression. The two flew straight into the boundary city. Zhao Tianzhao's followers followed, and Bai Xiaoqun simply sighed. Why all this killing? Forget it. This place is too dangerous. I think De Lingfei was right. We should find a secluded area here to cultivate for 10 years. Then take a heavenly human soul back to exchange for a 5 elements heavenly beast soul. Bai Xiaoqun made a firm decision. He took a deep breath and entered the boundary city, his expression extremely serious. Even though he was afraid, he didn't dare show it. Even when chasing after Zhao Tianzhao, Bai Xiaoqun praised him. Brother Zhao is right. Cultivators of our generation should be like this. Zhao Tianzhao laughed heartily. They quickly approached the boundary city, presented their identity jade slips, and waited for inspection. Only after passing were they allowed to enter the boundary city.